Hi, today we are playing the Resident Evil True Director's Cut. That's it. So we get a pick between Chris Redfield, Joe Valentine, and we're going to pick Chris. By the way, welcome to my Zero Box, and I'm Adam, and I forgot that part of the intro. 1988, July. Raccoon Forest.
Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we're searching for the helicopter of our compatriots Bravo Team, who disappeared during the middle of our mission.
You haven't found it?
No, I haven't found it yet. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. Bravo Team went to the hideout of the group and disappeared.
Look, Chris!
It was Bravo Team's helicopter. Nobody was in it. But strangely, most of the equipment was still there. However, we soon discovered why.
Hey! Come here!
Ooh. Oh, they got him. Poor Joseph. Oh yeah, no, I don't think he's getting back up.
No! Don't go!
No, don't go. You have to love the voice acting in this game. We'll talk about that.
Jill, run for that house!
There are only 3 STARS members left now. Captain Wesker, Jill, and myself. We don't know where Barry is.
Roll call. Once again, this is the true director's cut, so in the American version, you never see Chris Redfield actually smoke. They cut that out. Everything here, I think, is pretty much the same. Rebecca's really cute. His hair is so yellow. It looks so weird.
Resident Evil.
In Japan, called Biohazard. They have escaped into the mansion where they thought it was safe. Yet.
I don't know what happened.
Barry! Where's Barry?
Well, I'm sorry, but he's probably...
No. What is that?
I'll go and check.
Okay, Jill and I will stay in the hall in case of an emergency.
Chris. Take care.
He just gives her a little wave. Okay, so now we officially start the game. Once again, this is Resident Evil, the True Director's Cut, and we're going to start this game with the iconic very first zombie reveal. Ooh. Creepy. All right, let's get our knife out. Let's see, how do I do this? Okay, I have to get used to the controls. There we go. Ooh. I'm usually able to get 1 or 2 slashes off before he gets me. I usually try to back up a little bit. 1, 2, he's down. Then you stab him again. Apparently not. Stab. 2 swipes. 3. The most I've ever been able to do is 3. And now you know he's officially down when you see the pool of blood spill out. And now we go back to Kenneth here. He's Kenneth from the Bravo team. Now he's become a mere shadow of his former self. So once again, this is a ROM hack. So that means somebody put this together. So they took the original game, and I think they used content and source code from the French and German version to make this game just the way you play it in Japan, its Japanese counterpart, which is fully uncut and uncensored.
Wesker? Jill?
What happened to Jill and Wesker?
What happened to Jill and Wesker?
And here I gotta pick up Jill's gun. A Beretta. Okay, so now we start the game. Let's go upstairs. Let's see. What can we talk about? I'm gonna sniffle a lot through the game. Anybody who watches my videos knows that. With my year-round allergies, I'm always sniffling or fidgeting, or I get really itchy. I like scratch my neck a lot. So in Japan, this is called Biohazard. The reason they couldn't call it Biohazard here in America is because there was a DOS game, I think, with the same name, so they couldn't take that name. There was no way for them to copyright it for themselves. Plus there was also like a band at the time called Biohazard, and so it would get messy here in America. So what they did was they started a contest internally in Capcom, the company who produced this game, and they asked them, hey, come up with another name and we'll vote on it. And so they came up with Resident Evil, which is interesting because it's so different from Biohazard, but it's also kind of curious as well. You know, when you read the title, you think Resident Evil, you know, evil residents. What does that mean? And it kind of makes sense too, honestly. I think it makes sense because obviously this entire mansion is inhabited with these zombies, as you can see. But, you know, it's also a biohazard, so, you know, both.
Whoa! What is it?
What? Oh! Oh no! Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You must be from the Bravo team.
Yes, I'm Rebecca Chambers. I'm a newcomer. I just joined the STARS Bravo team last month. Well, I'm really sorry. Are you all right?
Yes. I'm Chris Redfield from the Alpha team. Are you the only person here from the Bravo team?
Well, because the helicopter made a forced landing, I just ran into this house anyway, but
I see. There's nothing else you could have done anyway. It's good you're here.
Yes, sir. But it's strange. I serviced the helicopter recently, but something went wrong with the engine. It was such a short flight.
Okay, another thing to talk about is I have completed this game a multitude of times, and so if you notice here, I have everything. I have all the weapons and all the key items you collect throughout the entire game. And the reason I'm doing it this way, I've input cheats. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because not only have I completed this game from A to Z countless times, I never got the rocket launcher legitimately because I never beat the game within 3 hours. But I have played this game many, many times. And for this playthrough, I'm not intentionally playing it the way it was intended or designed to be played. I am doing the short, quick version. So I'm going to still go through most of the rooms and talk about the lore and the mechanics and everything. But yeah, it's this is not the way the game is intended to be played. So if you want to play it the way it's intended, you got to turn off the lights, play by yourself, put on a good pair of headphones, and play the game the way it was intended. But this one, we're just going to kind of go through it pretty easily.
Well, what should I do now? If you go out to search for the other members, how about letting me come with you?
So that way this playthrough will be a lot faster and I'm not here for like 4 or 5 hours. Anyways, okay, so you get like a couple of choices in the game that affect the ending, whether you get like a bad ending, a okay ending, and then a good ending. And so this is the first of those 2 choices. I think it's 2 choices. So will you take Rebecca with you? And we will answer yes.
All right, let's do it.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best. I have to prepare something. Would you like to go ahead?
Okay. So yeah, even though I'm just gonna like breeze through these zombies like butter, I'm still gonna most likely visit most of the rooms so we can see, because a lot of them are so nicely designed, arguably beautifully designed for what this was back in 1996. You see, this looks like a very plain room, but these backgrounds are all pre-rendered, so they're already been fully done and full of detail, which really looks really nice. This is kind of unheard of for a game back in 1996 because everything was 3D and, you know, polygons, and the camera's meant to move. Here, this game focuses on fixed angles. So if you notice, this angle doesn't move. You're seeing exactly what you're seeing, and the camera's not going to pan or turn right to left. That way, they're able to get these beautiful kind of digital paintings in the background and up the detail to an amazing level for what this game was back then. And then Chris Redfield, our character here, is like a polygon. So he's just like, you know, pixelated polygon character on top of the model. And what they do is they mask out the whole room so that I don't, you know, walk too far beyond the drawer. I can walk further over here towards, you know, the cabinet. I don't go through the wall. So they mask everything out exactly the way the room is laid out and all the items in the room. And, you know, if you notice, you could tell the shotgun is different than the cabinet. So you know that, you know, that's something that you can probably interact with. That's something in the game, something I can click on, and it'll come up with a prompt where you take the broken shotgun, or not, but normally you would for the puzzle. Here's one clip. Ammunition. We're not going to take that either. But that's what this game is. So it's all fixed angles, third person point of view. And which is funny because this game originally was intended to be played in first person point of view, meaning you're meant to look through the eyes of the character. And I think you could probably see like your hand and your weapon in front of you, but that's all you're able to see. Everything is just through the character's eyes. But even though the PlayStation was a fantastic piece of machinery for what it was in 1994, I think 1993, whenever the PlayStation first debuted, the engine still wasn't up to snuff to handle a full 3D environment in a first-person game like this. And so they weren't able to complete the game that way. So in order to save the game and have it not be canceled or ever not released, they had to find a workaround. And so they adopted third-person point of view. Everything is pre-rendered, fixed camera angle, and that's how they saved the game. That's how it was able to get released. You have used the mention key. Okay. And there's a lot more little tidbits I'll talk about later. But we're going to play through the game, go through the lore and the story. Oh my gosh, you better believe this freaked me out as a kid. Right there, that jump scare. Now you see, that was butter. For us, that was easy. As a kid, when you only have, well, I mean, not as a kid. Whenever you play this the way it's originally intended, you only have the Beretta. And so these zombies could take anywhere from 4 to 8 clips on average, or 8 bullets. Or it can take an entire clip, which each magazine holds about 15 bullets. So potentially these zombies could take up to 15 bullets to put down. So when he shuffled, what, 3 steps and he was already in front of us. So that's a panic moment. And so that was really well done back in the day, because most likely would take a hit. He would definitely take a hit, have to stumble him back, throw him back, and then continue shooting and just hope that he doesn't take an entire clip, because ammo is very, very important in this game. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. Let's read the Keeper's Diary. May 9th, 1998. At night we played poker with Scott the Guard, Alias, and Steve the Researcher. Steve was really lucky, but I think he was cheating. What a scumbag. May 10th, 1998. Today, a high-ranking researcher asked me to take care of a new monster. It looked like a gorilla without any skin. They told me to feed them live food. When I threw in a pig, they were playing with it, tearing off the pig's legs and pulling out the guts before they actually ate it. May 11th, 1998, around 5 o'clock this morning, Scott came in and woke me up suddenly. He was wearing a protection suit that looked like a spacesuit. He told me to put one on as well. I heard there was an accident in the basement lab. It's no wonder those researchers never rest even at night. May 12th, 1998. I've been wearing this annoying spacesuit since yesterday. My skin grows musty and feels very itchy. By way of revenge, I didn't feed those dogs today. Now, I feel better. May 13th, 1998. I went to the medical room because my back is all swollen, feels itchy. They put a big bandage on my back, and the doctor told me I did not need to wear the spacesuit anymore. I guess I can sleep well tonight. May 14th, 1998. I woke up this morning and found another blister on my foot. It was annoying, and I ended up dragging my foot as I went to the dog's pen. They have been quiet since morning, which is very unusual. I found that some of them had escaped. I'll be in real trouble if the higher-ups find out. May 15th, 1998. Even though I didn't feel well, I decided to go see Nancy. It's my first day off in a long time, but I was stopped by a guard on the way out. They say the company has ordered that no one leave the grounds. I can't even make a phone call. What kind of joke is this? May 16th, 1998. I heard a researcher who tried to escape from this mansion was shot last night. My entire body feels burning and itchy at night. When I was scratching the swelling on my arm, a lump of rotten flesh dropped off. What the hell is happening to me? May 19th, 1998. Fever gone, but itchy. Hungry, and eat doggy food. Itchy, itchy. Scott came in. ugly face, so killed him. Tasty. For itchy. Tasty. Very creepy stuff. I remember when I first read it, it was such a tragic story of obviously this gentleman here losing his humanity and becoming a zombie after being infected by whatever has escaped and infected this mansion. We don't know what that is yet. We don't know what that is yet. So yeah, that's how they were able to release the game, is by making it fixed camera angle third person. Now, in talking about that, let's talk about how we move our character. So our character, in order for them to get the game released, obviously we have fixed camera angles. So to work with that, they had to adopt and implement what is dubbed tank controls. So tank controls are pretty much exactly what they sound like. I move my character like a tank, forward and backwards. And right and left doesn't move me right and left, it spins me. So if I hit left, it turns me left. If I hit right, it turns me right. And the only way I get to move is if I hit forward and move to the right or to the left. And basically it allows me to keep moving forward. So whatever angle I'm at, I'm constantly moving forward, because if I was able to hit right and go right, then in the next angle, right could be walking me backwards or pushing me to the left. So I have to reorientate myself every time I hit a new angle. And so it's not easy to get used to. It's definitely different. A lot of people complain about it. They hate tank controls. Back in the day, this was really the only way to get this game out on shelves, or else, it would have been completely canceled. And so it was the best they could do with what they had. And once you get used to it, it gets a little bit easier, but it's still tricky because everything is forward. And when you jump to a new angle, you're constantly trying to fix yourself, and you do a lot of this. I know I do a lot of this. You go too far, you have to stop and then turn it around and shift over. So that's how I move the character. As you can tell, I'm also able to run. And let's see. Let's talk about the inventory, the mechanics. So in this game, it is the first game to coin the term survival horror. And so it created more or less survival horror, because the entire game is based around survival, and that's done through health management and inventory management. So my health, if I get hurt or hit, I can't tell at all because the character doesn't show like any physical change. So as I go through the game and as I take different hits, I need to press start so that I can go to my ECG and look at my health status, which right now is fine. And if I took a couple of hits, it may go down to caution. And if I'm close to being taken out of the game, I would be red at danger. So that's how you have to constantly check. And Resident Evil 2, the sequel, they fix that a little bit. But here, I can be perfectly fine, or I can be in danger, and I would never know just by looking at my character. So health management is very important, to keep an eye on that constantly, because you could be doing awesome throughout the game and not know that you're one hit away from being taken out. Save management. So that was an ink ribbon that we just saw. So we need to manage our saves, meaning we only get so many ink ribbons throughout the game. And these ink ribbons allow us, let me go back out to the main hall here. These ink ribbons allow us to save the game on typewriters. Now, several rooms have typewriters. You can see it right here. This is a typewriter. I don't think I get another angle on this. Yeah, that's pretty much right here. So here's a typewriter where I get to save my progress. So for every ink ribbon, you see they already have an ink ribbon here for me. I'm not going to take it, but ink ribbons, you should get 1, 2, or maybe 3 of them. For each ink ribbon you have, you get to save 1 slot. So you get to save the game once per ink ribbon. So, you know, if you have like 2 or 3 and you're making progress, or, you know, something has changed, or you're coming to a room, a special door that you think might hold a big enemy behind you, you're going to want to be careful how many times you save. This was a big jump scare for people. Everyone remembers that. That's iconic now. The dog jumping through the window. The dog jumping through the window terrified me as a kid. Absolutely terrified me, because you don't expect it. So anyways, yes, ink ribbon saving, very, very important, because the game operates based off of your save states. Meaning, if I save now and I decide I'm gonna play for another hour or two and make some progress, and I'll hold off on you know, on saving just so I can save my ink ribbons, well, I get taken out by something, the game doesn't go back to a checkpoint. The game you can only load where you last saved. So that means if you saved 2 or 3 hours ago, you're going back to the very beginning where you last saved, not to where you left off in the game. So that's another element of mechanic that's very much at play in the game that you have to be very on top of, as well as item inventory. So if you notice here, I have 6 slots, and it doesn't matter how big or how small. It could be a tiny little key like this called a small key, or it could be a big rocket launcher that you stuff in your pocket. It doesn't matter the size. You only get 6 slots. And so if you notice here in my slot, I have the Colt Python, I have 3 keys, I have the crank. I'm not going to take the key. But now I have to manage that too. So there's a lot of backtracking. When it comes to puzzles, I may need certain keys. I may need certain pieces, crests and shields and all these different things. And you can only carry 6. As Jill, it's a little easier because you carry 8. She has 8 slots. Chris only has 6 slots. And so Chris is naturally harder. So you have to manage that. And so when it comes to one of the most important things in the game, let me see what's inside here. Another clip is not just inventory management, but your ammunition management. So naturally, if you have these 6 slots, what you would do is what I would normally do is have my primary weapon. Next to that, I would have my ammunition, so I can reload my different clips. Then I'd have maybe one mansion key and whatever else you want, you know, that you think you may need. But you only get 6 of them. So if your items are if it's full and you need to pick up a new item and you're full, you have to go all the way back to a save room where they have a chest. We saw the chest earlier, is where I pulled all this stuff from. The different rooms have chests. They're all connected. So they'll have everything you already have in there. And you'll have to dump items, deposit them, or withdraw items you may need to open up space so that you can collect new treasures or items. So the game makes you think a lot, because if the whole game is you're low on ammo. And that's the point of the game. Is you get the Beretta in the beginning. It's got 15 bullets, and you only get a few clips throughout the mansion. You know, eventually you solve this puzzle to get the shotgun. Only a few buckets of shells. You know, the Colt Python, this most powerful gun in the game that, you know, I use the cheats in, so I have it right away. I have a ton of bullets. I never have to reload this thing. I have 127 bullets, which is more than enough to take everyone out, you know, twice almost. But these bullets are extremely rare. I think you only get like 30 in the whole game, and obviously you save it for the end. But you have to be very careful and manage your ammunition, because if you run out of ammo, that's it. You may either never get any more ammo, or you may get ammo way later in the game. But so many playthroughs have been ruined by just completely having no ammo left, and then that's it. You pretty much have to restart the game. So let's talk about the puzzles now. So we talked about the ammo. So the ammo you have to save and be very careful how you manage that. But we talk about the puzzles. So this picture's entitled From Cradle to the Grave. And so if you look around this room, you see these downlights that are mounted on this hanging mounted rod, and perched on there is these crows. And so you go around the room and you realize that there's a funny looking painting. And so obviously there's something hidden behind that painting that you need. And so you need to solve the puzzle of the room. So there's switches. When you start investigating, notice there's switches behind or underneath every single one of these portraits. And so when you go back and you look at the clue, which is again From Cradle to the Grave, you realize that you have to hit these switches in just the right order. So From Cradle to the Grave, I'm gonna, if I remember this correctly, start with the newborn baby. So we're going to hit that switch. And if we do this incorrectly, I think this is a toddler. An infant. If we hit it incorrectly and we try to push the button underneath the main painting that we want to get, it sends an electrical current right through this rod, which obviously upsets the crows, and then they start attacking you. You have to leave the room to reset the puzzle. So we did the infant or the toddler. Now we go to a young man that's, I think, too old. I think we have to be a lively boy first. So we went from newborn to infant to lively boy. Okay, we pushed that button. We go back to this painting. Picture of a young man. Yep, we'll push that one. I think there's a middle-aged man over here. A picture of a tired middle-aged man. Yep. We'll click that one. Whoops, I think I already did it. So I'm not going to do it again. And if I did it right, there should be like an old man over here. A picture of a bold-looking old man. Yep. And then we're going to click that one. And if we did this right, we go to this final one here that says this picture is entitled The End of Life. There's a switch below. Will you push it? Yes. And we did it right. So now the frame falls, and behind there is this crest called the Star Crest. And yeah, Star Crest. We need 4 of those to open the door to get outside the mansion. Star Crest, Wind Crest, Sun Crest, and Moon Crest. So we need all 4 of those to get to that door, to open that door to get out of the mansion and venture towards a new part of the map. So this is a creepy mansion filled with traps and puzzles, and so you have to survive the puzzles because a lot of them are meant to obviously take you out if you're not careful. So again, this is another great example of both sound design and aesthetics. So we have this creepy angle here where we see the zombie shuffling. Now later on, we're gonna hear these nails tapping on the wood. Later on, there's a new monster called a hunter that's introduced, and I think he's outside of the frame, and that's another perfect example of you entering the hallway that you're familiar with. Previously, you expect nothing in there, but then you hear the taps and you're thinking, what on earth is that? But you can't see anything yet. You have to move forward, which is always really creepy. It builds a lot of tension and gives you a lot of anxiety. So it's really, really well designed, and that's where the fear and the horror aspect come in. So again, this is another crate where I get to, dump things and get new things, etc. I'm not going to do anything yet. We're just kind of going through the whole mansion and getting familiar with all these different rooms and everything they have going on. So yeah, this is like first of its kind, 1996. I think development started in 95 with creator and director Shinji Mikami. How did it start? It started because there was a movie in 1988 or 89, something like that, called Sweet Home. And based on that movie, they made a video game with the same name, Sweet Home. And it was it was really just like this. It was these people get lost in a big mansion and they have to survive. They have permadeath in that one, which means you have a group of characters and you need to help them survive to get through the game, because if they die early in the game or at any point in the game, they stay gone. And so you have to go back and restart the game. But there's puzzles and traps, and it's just like this. And so years later, when the PlayStation came out, Capcom, the company that developed the Sweet Home game, said, we want to make a successor or a sequel or a remake, something. So they got Shinji Mikami, this fresh guy, fresh out of school, to come in and that'll work on the game. And he never liked horror, which was funny. He never liked horror or anything scary. So they picked him because they go, well, you know, if you're scared of everything, then you'll probably make a really good game, because if it terrifies you, it will probably terrify others. And that gamble worked. He started working on this game. And let's see, what is this? You see, this is the lighter. This is what Chris gets. He gets a free slot. So if you notice in the upper right-hand corner, it says map, file, blank, and exit. I think if I take this, I think the lighter stays in that slot. I'm not sure. I'm not going to take it, but yeah. So Shinji Mikami ended up making this game instead, because, you know, it wasn't working. And so he wanted to try something different and chose zombies, and slowly developed this game. He wrote like 40 pages of the script, even though this was meant to be very different. Originally, it was supposed to be a big haunted house, a mad scientist, and then, like, you know, cybernetic stuff and ghouls and weird creations he made. Luckily, somebody came in to help write it and change it back to something more tangible, like zombies and, you know, the conspiracy and everything else going on here. It's too heavy to move. And it became a hit. Researcher's will. My dear Alma, the fact that you have received this letter is both a joy and a sadness for me. I could not even talk to you because of the guy in the sunglasses. Alma, be calm and read this. I think I've told you that I moved to a pharmaceutical company's lab. They headhunted me last night. No, they headhunted me last month. There was an accident in the lab, and the virus we were studying escaped. All my colleagues were infected by the virus are dead. All who were infected by the virus are dead. To be accurate, they've become the living dead. They still wander around. Some of them are knocking on my room door desperately right now, but there's no sign of intelligence in their eyes. That cursed virus takes away all humanity from the human brain. Love, joy, sorrow, fear, humor, eternally. And Alma, even the memories of the days I spent with you. Yes, I'm infected. I did everything I could, but I could only delay the progress by a few days. The most frightening thing is that I forget more about you by the day. So I choose a peaceful death rather than becoming the living dead. Within an hour, I will have entered my eternal sleep. I do hope you'll understand my decision. Goodbye and forever yours, Martin Crackhorn. Researcher's will. Very sad stuff. So if you notice, a part of this game, because, you know, there's on this desk, if you notice, it's pre-rendered. It looks like it blends well with the background. But if you don't click on everything, you don't know that there's, you know, clues or files or reports or anything there, because your eyes trained to look at, you know, the polygons, things like this. I know eventually I can drain that and move that like I need to. If you look at the cabinet here, that doesn't blend well with the background. That looks like it's made on top of the game, which it is, and that I can interact with. But you have to move around the room, find different camera angles, and click on everything. So it really does feel more like an old school computer game, because, you know, you'd have to travel and hit everything in the room to find out what to do, because almost every room has a purpose, and it's just about investigating and finding that purpose. So here, that's how I drain this. And then let's see, I think I already messed up. Okay, normally I have to move that the other way. I have to go into the, so I have to reset the room. I'm not going to do that, but if you notice behind here, when I move this, let's go to that other angle. Nope, other angle. Right there on the left, there is a hidden safe behind that wardrobe, so, or that wall unit. So let's see, these door loading screens. So let's talk about that. These are this door opening is called a door loading screen, and it hides the fact that the game is actually loading the next room, but to you it looks like it's a part of the game design that you're opening the door and you're going through it, which is really interesting. And I never knew that. I always thought, you know, it's just the way the game is. Every time you go through a door, you have to open it and you have to go through, and it's black. So as soon as it opens up, you know, you get to see this, like, holy smokes, what's behind the next door into the next room. But it's actually masking the fact that it's a loading. So it cleverly hides the loading screen. Most games will just say, you know, loading on the side, you wait a few seconds, you know, like, you know, it kind of pulls you out a little bit. But this one keeps you very much involved because it shows you the door, and if you haven't visited the room or know what's going on in the room that it's leading into, then, you know, you start thinking, well, what is behind that door? So I'm going to unlock that. Not that I really need to. So we're exploring the mansion. Now we know that these scientists worked for a pharmaceutical company. They were working in a secret lab underneath this mansion, and they're working on a virus, and this virus escaped and infected everybody and turned them into zombies. So here's another example of a great puzzle. So in this puzzle, what I want is, in the back of the room here, there's like a switch. No, the switch is in the middle of the room on the floor, but there's another crest in here. I don't know, the sun crest or something, the moon crest. And it's inside this cabinet. And the only way the cabinet will open is if I push this button. But if you notice over here, I have these vents, and it'll shoot out poisonous gas if I hit that button. So what I have to do to solve the puzzle is I have to move these statues and put it perfectly over the vents so that when I push the button, it blocks the gas from coming out. So we're going to do that now, actually, because this is a fairly easy, simple, fast puzzle. So then now that I've covered up that, and again, you know, if you don't know and you test these things often, that's why you have to save carefully, because you could be trapped in a room and be taken out, and then you've just lost your whole progress since your last save. So that's why you have to be very careful before you touch anything, enter a room, play with anything. So that opened, and I was right, it's the sun crest. So you have to be very, very careful, very, very careful. So many times I've played the game and I've been kind of like bold or courageous, or when you go back to the game, you don't always remember, you know, all the puzzles. You don't have them memorized yet, so you have to go back and try to. Oh boy, I did not remember him. Is this open? If not, I'm going to open it. There we go. And yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so if you're not careful, you could get trapped in a room. And oh yeah, so I would play for like an hour or two and go, okay, I'm gonna get close to a save real soon. Let me just put in another 5-10 minutes. Let me get through this. Let me collect this or that, and then I'll jump back to a save room and save. And it's always right before I'm about to save, I try just one more thing, and I get taken out, and then I lose 2 hours of progress, and it's frustrating. Okay, so we're on the balcony. It's Forrest. He's been pecked to death by crows. And so it does show the danger of these crows. These are the crows when they're in a frenzy and they attack. I think these crows can take you out, or they can just take you all the way down to danger status on your health meter. But Yeah. What I love about the mansion too is the mansion itself, this entire mansion we're in is a character in itself. If you notice the blood stains on the walls, for example, obviously this was Forrest injured, trying to find safety, and instead he finds his death. But from the blood stains on the walls to I think in the wall on the second story on the other side of the mansion, there's like a writing. Somebody had, you see handprints that have slid down with blood, and maybe with their finger they try to write some message to help them or save them. But the mansion is a character in itself and also tells a story. So I love the mood and style and music, and all of this comes together when it comes to survival horror. Is you got to really blend the music well with the environment, with the enemies, with the sound design, with the mechanics. Having little to no ammo and trying to survive is really tough. It is. That's why I always recommend when people first play this game, play as Jill Valentine. She has less health, but she has more slots to keep things, and she gets helped a lot more. Chris is tough. He has a high health meter, but he doesn't have as many slots, and his enemies are naturally tougher. I think if you're playing as Jill, the enemies have lower health. So yeah, Jill would be the one to play when first playing this game. Chris is definitely tougher. And so, the crawling zombie. So over here is you don't have the key for this room. Yeah, I thought I did. Isn't this the key, the special key? There must be a closet somewhere. Okay, this is it though. This should be it. You don't have the key for this room. I thought that was it. The special closet key. That's weird, because I know when we went up there with Forrest, the gentleman who was pecked by crows, in some scenario or version, I think if you double tap on him, he comes to life. He jumps up and he crawls, he shuffles towards you. He walks towards you. But it didn't happen in this one. And this special key, I think, is supposed to open this closet door so that I can change my costume. I think you're allowed 1 or 2 costume changes. I forget how many are in here. But obviously that didn't work either. So that's weird. I am going to save on the emulator. Okay, so I know I have a save right there. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get to our first enemy here. So this virus has infected people. Now this virus has also affected other life. It's affected the crows, which is why the crows are now very mean crows. And so let's see what else. We're gonna go through this door, and there's certain things that are different in this version. Maybe because some of it is exclusive to Jill. Like for here, for example, Richard. It says Richard from Bravo team. And I think in another camera angle, you get to see he's actually bitten. One part of his body has this big bite wound. He's alive, maybe in Jill's scenario, I think. And you have to save him with serum with the help of Rebecca. But here it doesn't happen. I don't know why. I forget. Ooh. Oh, he got me. He still got me. So I don't remember why, but I know in some scenario he's alive and you have to send Rebecca to go get some serum. I think it still doesn't. He still passes away from his injuries. Here again, you play with the whole room because you move this cabinet. This you can see is different from the background, so you know you can interact with it because it's 3D. And you go in this room and you're like, well, it's too dark. I can't see anything. Yeah, it's too dark to see anything. So when you have to search through the whole room just to find that this pre-rendered candle is, you can actually interact with it. So if you tap the candle, it would be just the right angle candle. It just says a candle. It doesn't say anything more than that. And so then you have to kind of think about it and go, well, you know, you have a lighter. If you found the lighter by this point, if you picked it up, and if you found it, you get to come back with the lighter and light it, which helps illuminate that dark room in the back. I never really understood that, but yeah. So you see we have the handprint here. And so we're going to go up here. It's locked. Okay, so I need to go get another key. So yeah, this game is I think it's like 85%, you know, just the normal American game. Obviously, you know, everything's translated, and everything's in English, but it incorporates parts of the French and German version, which includes all the cut content. You see, this is what I was talking about. You see the blood splatter. We saw the handprint back there and some message. I don't know what it says. Something is written on the wall. I can't breathe. Save me from this pain. So I think this was also removed from the American version. The cutscene we saw in the beginning, the live action footage, was definitely censored. So when we saw Alpha Team going to find Bravo Team and they land, that entire footage was in black and white, which I think is supposed to be their version of like making it less scary, which I would argue kind of makes it more scary. So the fact that it's in color is a totally different version. Is truly the Japanese version. Let's see, what do I need? I need mansion key. I think I need this one, but I'll still take this just in case. And so yeah, it was in color, and obviously, you know, the parts were like when Joseph grabs the gun and there's a hand attached to it. In the American version, it just stops right before you see the gory part, and then it just cuts to his reaction, which is why I always laugh at that you know, that horrible fake reaction. But obviously in the version that we witnessed, you get to see it pulls up a few more frames, and then you get to see what's, you know, it's a detached hand. It's kind of like the Jurassic Park thing, the limb holding on to something. And so let's see, obviously, you know, the dog attacks, they cut that whole thing out. That video is, the uncut version is a lot longer than the original version. You know, they replaced the original version by cutting all that out, by showing newspaper clippings and stuff like that. They don't show that zombie victim where you get to see that close up and the makeup and the gore and everything of a found victim. All that is cut. All that is gone from the original one. Chris Redfield smoking, there is no sign of him smoking whatsoever in the American version, even though, you know, he has a lighter. Good morning, wife. My wife just woke up. Okay. Okay, we're back. This is like early in the morning. I'm playing this, and my wife just woke up, and so it was just so cute and funny. So yeah, so this is a ROM hack. So somebody, there we go, my controller. Maybe it's losing power. I don't know. So this is a ROM hack. So somebody put this together with a lot of love and effort, I'm sure. But this is fantastic. This is the first time when I came across this, I was so happy because I'm like, oh my goodness, finally the full version of the game, the way it's intended to be played, the way it was designed to originally be played, at least in Japan, you know, where it came from. So we have this giant snake here. They call this snake Yawn. Oh, I'm probably going to take a hit. No, I did. That means I'm poisoned. So this is Yawn, the snake, and I think his name is Yawn, obviously in reference to his mouth gaping wide and looking like he's yawning. But yeah, so Yawn sneaks back into this little hole here, and then that's how we find the moon crest. So if you notice, you know, we're really trying to find these crests because there's a door we're going to go to later that needs all 4 crests to open for us to get out of this mansion. So we're in this dusty attic, which looks great. I mean, you can see the spider webs, the rotten wood. It looks very weathered. So this is a neat, creepy attic. So that was Jan, and so I was bitten. Now, there are ways not to get bitten, and
Chris,
obviously, I'm not good enough.
Damn it, give me serum.
I'm sure the serum must be there. I'll be right.
So he gets poisoned, and Rebecca just happens to walk in at that exact same time. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm not so good at the game that I can get by without taking a single hit from Jan the snake. But that's okay, because we have our friend Rebecca here, who's going to go across the map, and we're going to go to the room we first met her, which is like the pharmaceutical room, or the medicine room. And we're going to get a antidote for our friend Chris. I can hear my dogs go nuts. As soon as my wife wakes up, my dogs, they love her. Ooh, they love my wife. Like, I could just be like passed out on the floor and they would like walk over my body. But for my wife, oh boy, they love her. Okay, so I have infinite health on Rebecca too, because, you know, why not? I'm able to do it. But again, and that's just because I've played this game tons of times. I have nothing to prove. This is just purely for fun, for us to get through the game and talk about it. And I don't want to reset. I really don't. I'm too lazy. Oh boy, I have all 3. So a lot of these zombies spit up acid vomit, which won't take you out, but it will bring your health down. And so that's the game being nice to us, because normally they could be grabbers. They could grab onto us and attack. But sometimes when they are vomit zombies, it's much nicer. Okay, so here we go. And yeah, so there's Rebecca. There's our status. We're still healthy. We're still fine. Ugh, I'm gonna get comfy. So now we have to run back upstairs and get to Chris. What's interesting about this is that if you take too long, if you don't have the map memorized more or less in your head or know where you're going, then, oh boy, then Chris is taken out, and you have to restart the game from your last save point. I'll tell you that again, from your last save point, because you can play for hours and pride yourself on only 1 or 2 saves, but if you get overconfident and too bold and you make a simple mistake like that, you're going right back to wherever you last saved, which I can't tell you how many times this frustrated me when I've like really made good progress, because you can make a little progress here and there, add a save and go, well, I don't want to lose that. It took me forever to find this thing. And then get, you know, chomped on by something, and then I go, oh boy, there goes that whole thing. So yeah, Chris is poisoned by the snake. I'm coming with some antidote. He's only passed out, so he's okay.
You all right?
Yeah. What happened?
You were bitten by a poisonous snake. Are you okay?
My head is killing me.
I think you will be all right because I gave you a shot. But please be careful.
You saved my life. I owe you one.
Okay, so
I'm glad I could help.
Just some extra added dialogue. So I'm fine. She stays there. I don't have to worry about her. I never really see her. I see her maybe 2 or 3 times in the entire game. And usually she's just doing a side mission. I'm gonna say a side mission. She does like a task for us. Like here, she's finding the antidote. Later on, she's helping me find a special formula to, you know, help me with something that's attacking me, etc. Let's see. Character design. So Shinji Mikami, the creator, kind of drew up the designs and everything for these characters. So it stars Alpha Team. So you have Raccoon City, which is this small little Midwestern town in the middle of this vast forest they call the Arcalay Forest, and that's where we live, in Raccoon City. And Raccoon City has a police department, the Raccoon Police Department, RPD, and in the RPD they have a special, they literally call it the Special Tactics and Rescue Squad, which is where I come from, STARS. And so Rebecca plays Moonlight Sonata in a piano back here. To unlock a shield I have to swap something with, but I'm not gonna do that. I just want it known that they do a beautiful job where I have to let her learn how to play the piano or how to remember Moonlight Sonata, and then I have to come back later in the game and see her progress, and when she finally remembers it, she plays it perfectly, and then it opens a secret door. And that's just beautiful haunting music. Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven. Anyways, what was I saying? I was saying something. I don't remember. Oh, design. So, yeah, Shinji Mikami designed the characters, and they all have a unique look. Jill is obviously, you know, her primary color is blue. Chris is green. If you notice in the beginning of the game, when it comes to the live action cutscenes, they have real actors who are not the voices of the characters, by the way, because if you look back on the footage, the dubbing, the voiceovers don't fully sync or look quite right. They don't look very authentic. It's because they're different voice actors that we're hearing, even here in the game, as these characters. Yeah, the voice of Chris Redfield is not the actor who plays him in the live action footage we saw in the beginning, and we'll see again at the end. So with the design with the characters, if you look at Chris in the live action version, he's got exactly what I'm wearing now. This is Chris Redfield. His vest is inspired directly by what I'm wearing, which is this is a replica of a original 1969 Vietnam flak vest, which is the 3/4 collar and everything you see, the old stripe, the flap that goes over in the middle. So that's what inspired his look. His vest is directly based off of a flak vest, but the costume designer for the live action kind of gave it this kind of weird low collar that kind of flares out a lot more, and it has like these little fins, very Japanese anime-esque type of, you know, inspiration. It's like a rich bright forest green, and so the characters in live action very much look, you know, Japanese anime style in their aesthetic. But if you notice here in the polygon version, which these were made first, obviously, Chris is a lot more unsaturated. If you notice, he doesn't have the flare. The collar is almost kind of gone, and he kind of has a grayish hue, you know, to his vest here, to the color. So they try to match them, you know, but you can tell the differences. And so, you know, mine is obviously more of a military army, you know, olive drab type of color. But yeah, so those are the differences, and that's where Chris's vest comes from. That's why I'm wearing the vest, because I got to kind of get in the mood and kind of get into character here, and just have fun. As my wife is like, "You're wearing a vest. What are you wearing the vest for?" And I go, "Oh, because the character wears it." And she's like, "Oh, okay." My wife knows me so well now. She's just like, yeah, that sounds right. We're supposed to go to Frankenstein's today, but my knee kind of hurts, so we're not doing that. So that's okay. Okay, so, you know, if we had done this first part of the mansion right, then we get, well, let's save. Okay, so if we did the first part of the mansion right, we get all 4 of these crests. We saw most of the rooms. We talked a lot about, different parts of the game, where it came from, where it started, and what it became. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now. So now we're exiting the mansion, and oh, we have a little doggo. This is where it goes. When the sun sets in the west, the moon rises in the east, the stars will begin to appear in the sky, and the wind will blow towards the ground. Then the gate of new life will open. So I take my crest. Oops, nope, that's not what I wanted. I want to go down. So I'm going to pop in the sun crest. Pop in the sun crest. Now pop in the wind crest. Now star. Okay, I've got the star. And what else do I need? I did the sun. Star. Did I do the moon? I did the moon. Okay, I did one of those. Okay. So if you heard that little click, that unlock sound, this door is now open. This old rusty copper door. Now, normally I would take this and I would slide it over up here, because you can't, from this angle, you could see there's a crank. I have that crank already because I'm awesome. And we're just gonna take that on over. So here, now real quick, these herbs, this is how you heal yourself. So in the botany book, it teaches you about these herbs that grow naturally in the Arklay forest. So this is a green herb, which restores my health a little bit. Over here is a red herb, which triples the effect of the green herb when they're mixed together. And then the only other one you get is a trio. It's 3. Blue herb heals poison. So there are different things that can poison me, and that's what that helps with. Ooh, boy, you got me on that one. You see, so it's good to run and then auto aim. Boom, that one got me. So I run, turn. Oh, you see. So when you don't have auto aim, you have to go all the way around, and you have to kind of aim, and you see it's easy to miss. But I have auto aim. Bam, and that's nice. Okay. So that's healing. That's how you heal in the game and restore your stamina and your health. Oops, I keep hitting that microphone. So here we have a big pool of water, but we know that there's a passageway that we have to get through. So over here, there's a hole for the crank. You got to be at just the right angle, and then you use the crank. And this is cool that they selectively use like a fully rendered, CGI video to show some of this. But it still looks really neat. A lot of this stuff doesn't match, which is really funny, obviously, because you have this in-game, the engine producing this in-game graphics. So these are the graphics in-game, and then when you cut to something that's been pre-rendered, it looks nicer. But obviously, it's not the true graphics of the game. It's just a nice video they made that looks nice. But then you also have the pre-rendered background obviously looks different than this. Obviously these 3D elements, these assets here, like even this platform, and then you also have the live action footage, which it's just they're using so many different forms of graphics and media. It's doesn't fully blend together very well. I mean, they do make it fit well for the most part, but they don't fully blend so well together. Later on, we're gonna look over here at this waterfall, which is it says the water's running way too fast for us to get to the passage behind there. There's something in the back, but we will worry about that later. So for now, we're crossing the courtyard, and we're gonna be going to the guardhouse. And here is, just to look, this is the blue herb. So that's the one. And when you mix all 3 together, you have, the most powerful healing component in the game. The most powerful heal in the game. Because you have a first aid spray, which will just restore you completely. with one item you find, but I don't think it, I could be wrong. I haven't played this in a long time, but I don't think it helps you when you're poisoned. I think it just brings you back to full stamina. So but you're still poisoned, and the poison will, if you are poisoned by, like you saw those little small asps, those snakes, then yeah, it slowly eats away your health from fine to danger. This is the first aid spray. We're not going to collect it, but that's the way it looks. So I don't think that one gets poisoned. Here's another typewriter where we save. But down there's a clip. And this is a chest. And once again, all the chests are connected. So I'm going to get rid of these. I want nothing. Yeah, see, I love that it gives me extra space here. So what I am going to do is I collect the Doom book 1 and 2, the red book. I'm going to take the red book and I don't know, dormitory key, closet key, lab key. The closet key didn't work. Was that the closet key? Yeah, I did take the closet key, but it didn't work for me when we went to the closet itself. Lab key. I don't know exactly what keys I need, but we're going to take these and just see what happens. I don't need the crank right now either, so I'm gonna deposit the crank back. Square crank, regular crank. Okay, so instead I'm gonna take a lab key. I already have the lab key. So I'm going to take the second dormitory. No, I already have the second dormitory. The control room key, I don't have that. I'm going to take that just because maybe I need it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a slot open. I think I need one at the very end. Let's save. Okay, so we're now in the guardhouse. Yes. So let's explore. The beginning of the game, the first half is always the easiest for me to remember. When it comes to the second half, that's a little trickier. But I will do my best to remember. This is a very old game. This is the very first game I ever played on the... No, not ever. This is the first PlayStation game I ever played. The year was 2000, and the very first console I got, Sony console, was a PlayStation 2, because that was like the jam back in the day. So that was the new hot ticket, the PlayStation 2. Here's a dormitory key, which we're not, or it's a control room key, we're not going to take. And so, yeah, PlayStation 2 was like the hottest thing back in the year 2000. And so I know I really wanted, because I came late to consoles. You know, I owned the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, but the 64 I didn't own until late into its life cycle. But the, oh, here's another one. Holy moly. And nothing much going on here. I think this is the red book, which I'll use later. It's on the bed, but I don't need that right now. So I didn't own the N64 till late in its life cycle. So, and I missed the PlayStation era, because even as a kid, to me, that was always marketed like it was for teenagers. And even as a kid, I was like, no, this isn't for me. These games are too scary. They're too adult, you know, because even as, to me, older teenagers are pretty much like, that's a whole different world. That's like adult and much more mature than I was, or prepared to participate in. Because it was just so different. I was used to Mario and Zelda, and even GoldenEye was like, you know, my very first first-person shooter. I even got in trouble for playing that. I got in trouble for playing this game as a kid, which, again, this is not intended for kids. So for any kids that are watching necessarily, this is not meant for you. This is meant for adults. And I did get in trouble for playing this when I was a young kid. Once, you know, my folks realized, you know, the content and what this really had in it. But yeah, here's another dormitory key, which we're not going to take. We already have it. And I think we have these, they're wasps. Yeah, infected wasps. And so once again, not meant for kids. Not meant for kids. And I stand by that. I actually, my parents took these games away from me when I was a kid, and rightfully so. I 100% agree as an adult. And I picked it up later on when I was like, you know, 18, 19. But, you know, by then I was mature better balanced, mind. Not that these games had any particular effect on me as a kid necessarily. I just love the fear aspect of it all, but they're still inappropriate. Still, I believe, very inappropriate for kids. Even this old, janky looking game, I think is still very inappropriate. But, as an adult, older teenager, based on your own discernment, you could take it as just like I do, purely entertainment. But yeah, and so when I got my very first PlayStation 2, the first thing I got was, it was for my sister. My mom got her the Princess Diaries, which is cool because, DVDs were like, wow, amazing, right? Let's read this first. This is Plant 42 report. 4 days have passed since the accident, and the plant at Point 42 is growing amazingly fast. It has been affected by the T-virus differently than the other plants have been and shows unique shape in addition to its size. Looking at the way it behaves, it is now difficult to determine what kind of plant it was originally. There are 2 ways in which Plant 42 gathers nutrition. The first one is through its roots that reached into the basement. Immediately after the accident, a scientist went mad and broke the water tank in the basement. Now, the basement is filled with water. It is easily imaginable that some chemical elements were blended in the water and promotes the incredibly fast growth of Plant 42. Oops. Another part of Plant 42 from the basement grows through the duct and hangs down like so many bulbs from the ceiling of the first floor. Many vines come out of those bulbs, and they are the second resource of its nutrition. Once sensing movement, Plant 42 shoots its vines around the prey and holds it. Then it starts sucking up blood using the suckers located at the back of its vine. It also has some intelligence. It blocks the door by twining its vines around it, twining its vines around it, especially when it captures prey or is sleeping. Several staff members have already fallen victims to this. May 21st, 1998, Henry Sarton. Oh, let's save. Okay, we're back. My wife is gonna go visit a friend, and so we're gonna go on a nice walk. I had to say goodbye. Because I love my wife, and she's really awesome. Let's see. Yeah, my wife is cool. I don't know why. I'm gonna say that a third time. My wife is really, really cool. I love her. She's the best. She was gonna take me to Frankensons today, but my knee's kind of bugging me today, so I decided, well, I'll skip it and go next week. Frankensons. I love that place. And great for exercise and a walk, and get to see these awesome vintage toys and memorabilia, and the place has everything. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Frankensons. There's tons and tons and tons of them, but I'll make my own. So yes, so the year is 2000. I just got the PlayStation. My mom got, I hate spiders. Oh, I hate spiders. These things freak me out. Oh, when they do that, okay, I'm gonna take them out just because I can't stand it. Oh, I can't. I know I'm Neo Spidey. I have tons of Spidey suits I designed myself. I love Spider-Man. I'm working on a Spider-Man movie right now. And yet I have arachnophobia. I hate spiders. They terrify me. I think based on this kind of tells me the code I need later. So if you notice the pool table, the cues are in a particular way. They're telling me a code, I think, that I need. I can't see what it is. Is it? I don't know. I don't know this code. The spiders can hurt you, but they can't take you out. They can only bring down your health. I don't know if they poison you. Okay, well, they do poison you. I'm poisoned. Well, it doesn't really matter for us because, the poison's never really going to affect us. You can step on them, obviously, and they squish. But this is like a clock or something. So I don't know what numbers or time this is telling me exactly. What is that, like 2 o'clock or something? I don't know. But anyways, so that's supposed to give me some type of code that I need later, which later I'm just going to I'm gonna edit, so it's gonna be fast for you, but for me, I'm gonna just go through 1,000 random codes with Rebecca to get to inside a room I need to get into. So anyways, the year is 2000. I have a PlayStation 2, so I begged my mom to go take me to get, you know, a video game so I can play it on this crazy new machine. And so she agrees, and back then it was GameStop. GameStop, that was the jam back in the year 2000. So we go to GameStop and look at the shelf, and back then GameStop had everything. They had every PlayStation game, because there was only PlayStation and PlayStation 2. I think maybe GameCube was starting to come into its own, and you had 64 and Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo for all the old stuff. I mean, it was amazing. And so you had that, and what I saw on the shelf was Resident Evil 2, and I'm thinking, this is it's very much up my alley. This is really cool. But it was creepy because I remember as a kid, I was a young kid back in like 96, 97. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and we went to a Toys R Us, and my mom and dad bought me a toy or something, and there was this guy next to me who was buying all these Resident Evil figurines, these merchandise of the figures, and I thought, oh, how scary, how grotesque. I mean, so I was well aware that Resident Evil was around. I didn't know anything about it, but it just seemed so freaky and so, you know, much older than anything I was used to. And so but you know, jump to another year or two later, my uncle showed me the movie Night of the Living Dead, and that just instantly caught me onto zombies and the zombie genre, and I was just like hooked. And so, you know, my other uncle is also like me. I'm very much like him. He's like me. We're like big kids at heart. And so even now he's, you know, 60 something, 50, 60 something, and he has an amazing collection. Star Wars or any types, Jaws and other memorabilia, some amazing stuff. And so we're very much alike, and so he loves zombies too. So he showed me a lot of cool zombie movies and a lot of cool scary movies, and we used to have sleepovers at night with him and me and my sister, and would have snacks and watch scary movies all night. I mean, it was fantastic. So zombies were very much up my alley. And so when I saw Resident Evil 2, I figured, cool, let me try a zombie game and let me see what this thing is about. So I picked up the copy. It was a CD case of Resident Evil 2, and so I'm the type where I can never play a game or watch a movie that's a sequel unless I watch or play the original first. So when I picked it up, you know, I had to beg my mom, you know, let's just let me try it. Just let me try it. She's like, okay. So I go to the counter and I say, hey, by the way, do you have the first game? And he looked it up and he goes, yes, we do. We have the director's cut. So I picked up the first and the second one, and right away in playing it, instantly I was just hooked. I was so freaked out because the graphics at the time looked so realistic. I mean, we look at this now, like, let's jump back, right? You look at this now and you go, wow, how old and how blocky and but back in the day, you know, coming from Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64, looking at models for Link and Mario, these were like realistic, jaw-dropping graphics. And it was like, wow, I mean, that looks like a real person on the screen right now. So, you know, it was easier to feed into the story and the idea of everything. And so, yeah, that's why back then it was like, I had never played a game like this before. And I thought, holy smokes, this is crazy. Like, look how real it looks. And this is PlayStation, because again, I missed the PlayStation era. So even though PlayStation 2 was coming out with these great new games and different graphics, much better, I went back to this original stuff going, this is phenomenal, man. This is great. So it freaked me out. It definitely scared me, and it did everything it was supposed to do. So that was my first introduction to the Resident Evil games. Got me in a lot of trouble. My cousins, I got them into the game, and they loved it, and they started buying everything. And but, you know, my cousin would cry, and my mom would say, stop playing that stupid game. Turn it off. You're scaring your cousins. Got me in trouble a lot. So here we're encountering Plant 42, who's captured us. Fortunately, we have our friend Rebecca coming to help us.
It's no use. The roots of it are in the basement. You could... Whoa!
Chris!
Take this file with you. Use the information in it in order to make the potion. And kill the root. Rebecca, please.
Chris! Don't die!
One thing we forgot to talk about, or I forgot to talk about, is the voice acting. So when it came to getting characters, getting people to bring these characters to life, if you start with the live action, okay, this is going to take a while, so I'm going to talk while I'm doing the stupid code. I'm going to just try 1,000 random codes. But when it came to the voice actors, you know, they had to select from a small pool of people, of talent in Japan. So, you know, whatever American actor is available, they'll just pretty much pick up if they're more or less semi-appropriate, at least, because, you know, there isn't that many American actors working in Japan, obviously, compared to, you know, the pool of Japanese actors. So they just have to kind of pull from whatever talent is available at the time locally. And it saves them from hiring, you know, expensive talent from America and flying them over and everything else. So that's where you get the voice actors and the live action actors. The live action actors are that we see, once again, only play, you know, their physical, the live action version. They don't play the voices, and even their voices in that footage is dubbed by the voice actors that you hear in game. And so yeah, let me see. So what I'm getting at here is the voice acting is terrible. It is terrible because, again, like Edith Inez, whatever her name is, the actress, the young, I think she was 17, 18 at the time, barely 18, who played the live action Jill Valentine, was Shinji Mikami the director regrets hiring her because it was her first time. That was her first time ever acting. She was brand new. She was being attacked by mosquitoes and just had a horrible, miserable time that night filming. I guess she was complaining a lot, whatever the case is. And so, you know, by the way, I'm just looking for the code and I'm just hitting random numbers. So this is just going to kind of be a quick storytelling thing. So yeah, a lot of these people, and not only that, is it like, you know, a lot of their first time projects, like Barry Burton, the guy that plays Barry Burton is just some random guy they found and said, hey, you look like the character model, like the concept art we drew, you know, do you have a night or two? I think he was a professor or something. They're like, do you have 1 or 2 nights? We'll pay you just to come in and stand there in front of the screen so we can take, you know, we can record you and you know, for a roll call, and then, you know, can you just spend a night over here? We'll go out to the forest at night and you know, film this scary scene, you know, just take a few hours. And he agreed to it. He's not an actor at all, but he kind of looked like the character, so they said, hey, listen, we'll pay you money, could you do this? And you know, he was American, so yeah, we're not working with like A-list talent here. And so you definitely hear it in the quality of voice acting, plus not just that alone, but the fact that it's a Japanese game, so it's Japanese style and Japanese beats. And, you know, when you're trying to explain this is what you're seeing and this monster comes in, just say this line, there's a disconnect because, you know, a lot of the graphics or a lot of the game wasn't ready, wasn't rendered. And so a lot of it is just storytelling, you know. And so it's just, you know, you go in here and this happens and the wall's falling. Okay. You know, and, oh, hey, you know. And so, yeah, there was I remember that was a big deal. That was, but even as a kid, you know, even though I was very much engrossed in the game and it was just like, wow, so crazy and so cool. What helped made it better, which, you know, is the bad voice acting, because it made me feel, okay, it's pulling me out a little bit. This is kind of hokey, you know. It doesn't, it's not to be taken too seriously, and it kind of helped relax me a little bit more, which you don't necessarily want when you're trying to keep up maintain a good consistent tone. But you know, it was what it was. They did the best they could with what they had, and it gets better in the sequel. We'll see. It gets better, but not by a whole lot, but it does get better. So that's the voice acting. That's why it's so terrible in the dialogue and the execution. So I'm gonna cut from here so that I can find this darn code, and we'll resume the gameplay. Yes. Okay, so, oh gosh, that took forever. Okay, I finally solved the code, just randomly. I think if you look at the pool table, there's a way to see, I think it gives you the answer, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while and I'm kind of too lazy. I don't even want to look it up. I just spam the whole thing. So anyways, when I was talking earlier, we looked at the white book in the bookshelf with Chris Redfield before I replaced it with the red book. And it talked about a special formula that could probably hurt Plant 42 called V-Jolt. And the only way to make it is by following this system here, which is, what do we have to get to? We have to get to a certain number. We have to get to 16. 16 is what's going to create V-Jolt based off of these chemicals here. So if I go into here, umbrella number 2, I need a container. So I need to go find some containers. This one, I remember when I first played this puzzle, this one took me a little while. All because I was missing one ingredient. I'll tell you what it is right now, and it's right here in the room. You probably already saw it, but I was missing one key ingredient, and it took me, I never knew that that's literally the one I was missing. So I have 3 containers. I think I get up to 4. Yeah, I get up to 4 because there's one right over there. Okay, so I'll take umbrella chemical number 4. All right, let's go get the 4th one, which is right here. Okay. So remember, I told you about the difference between, you know, the polygons that are here, and then what, you know, the stuff that's easy to find, and then the stuff that blends into the background. You just have to click everything all across the room to try to find something. Let's see. So we got that. Now this is what I never knew about, and I never saw this. Even when I would look at this angle, I never understood it. You get water. That literally is I think that has the value of 1, which is what you need in order to get what you're looking for. So if I combine 4 with 2, that's 6. And then with water, that becomes 7. And I never, ever got that. I would always get 6 and the 4 and the 2. And I'm thinking, how on earth do you get 16? Just mathematically, it doesn't make sense. You cannot get it with just, you know, 2 and what do you could? 2, 4, oh yeah, 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, yeah. But when I was looking at it, I could never get it right. I was always off. And I never realized it's because I needed the value of 1, which is water. So let's see here, right? So there's different ways you can get it, I think. But let's see. So we have 4, 7. Okay, so we're gonna, no, I don't want to check it. What's nice about checking, by the way, is you get a whole 3D look into the whole thing, which helps, especially with some tools. So here we go. We have 6. I'm going to combine that with 7. So that's 13. And to get 3, I need to go over here and get number 2. Cool. And I think I need some more water. I have to dilute it a little bit. Okay. And then okay, so now I can go to water, combine with number 2. That's 3. And if you combine 3 with 13, you get 16, which is also known as V-Jolt. So now that I have V-Jolt, I need to get out of here. We're going to save. And we need to go down to the basement. So we need to literally get to the root of the problem. So to get there, what do I need? I think I need to go here. Could be wrong. Let's see. I think I go here. And yes. Okay, so if I move these out the way, it reveals staircase. Or not a staircase, a ladder. So we go down the ladder. What are we on right now? An hour and 45 minutes. That's okay. This is going to take less than 3 hours for sure. The most annoying puzzle because it's tedious. This is one of those things where it looks really simple because it is, but if you try to shortcut it, you end up, making a mistake, and then you have to go all the way back up and come back down to reset the puzzle, and it's really annoying and time consuming. Here's where the biggest mistake comes in, which is this box here. You can't just push it forward. You have to push it back around the corner, not too much either. You push it around the corner and then you move around it, slide it against the back of this wall, and then you slide this guy all the way down. So now we know that the pharmaceutical company that owns this mansion, that is oh, my notes are going crazy. You have to push this all the way against this side of the wall. Okay, let's pause here let me go check on my little puppies. Okay, we're back. I just gotta get comfy. What was I saying? Tedious. If you do it the wrong way, it takes forever. I think that's what I was saying. I don't remember. My mind just works that way. If I don't stay in the moment, I do not remember. So, if you're a big fan of films like Jaws, which I definitely am, then this is the room for you. Or if you don't like sharks, or they scare you, like they scare me, then this is not the room for you. So we have these little baby sharks here. Not too bad. Oh boy, there it is already. There's the mama shark. This is a great white shark called Neptune. Now, if you notice, it came from this tank here. That's what I was saying. The pharmaceutical company that owns this mansion and that built this underground lab is Umbrella. They're actually called White Umbrella, but they're mainly known as just Umbrella. So a lot of the monsters and animals we've come across so far have all been infected by the T virus by accident. They were never intended, designed, or supposed to be a monster, or an infected creature. But for example, like the wasps, they just happen to be around, just a common animal that you would see around. The snake Yawn was just a small garden snake that grew to amazing size. But this guy Neptune was designed. He was experimented on and designed to be what they call a BOW, a biological weapon, organic weapon. So that's the difference between some of the creatures we've seen. Like zombies were never intended to be zombies. It was an accident. The crows were an accident. The dogs were experimented on. That's why they have a designated name called Cerberus. That shark, that great white shark, is called Neptune. And so those are the differences between the creatures we've come across, whether they're experiments or accidentally created into being monstrous. So we've just applied V-Jolt to the roots of plant 42, so it'll wither. And remember, we spoke earlier about somebody who busted the tank and released the sharks. He went crazy, so he released the sharks and flooded this entire basement. So Rebecca did her job fantastically, so she's done. And now we're going to return back to Chris. And it's such a great little fake out because you think, you know, the plan is really, that was it, it's done. But no, it comes back and it's keeping the doors locked. So you have to actually attack the plant. The way you do it is it's dropping poison from the ceiling. Is you have to constantly move around. You can't get too close to it either because those tentacles will get you. We have a powerful Colt Python. And so just a few shots and it's done. And I love the weird purple sickly look it has. So we see those giant vines there. And then we go over here, and over here, if it changes, inside the fireplace is the last mansion key that we never got before, called the helmet key. And I love the designs. All of them, we first get the sword key, then the armor key, then the shield key, and then this one is the helmet key, the final key of the mansion. When it comes to the crest, you have the star, the sun, the wind, and the moon. So I love the motifs. I love the different ideas and cool little design they put in there. So you see, so it sparks. It only does it once, and it'll go right to that fireplace to show you that there's a spark. So there's a little glare or glint that you see that shows you that there's an item there. And sometimes you'll see that in a level and you say, oh, well, that's something to take note of. And other times you have to find it. It's blended in. But in that case, that one really shows you there's a truer, bigger purpose to this room besides a boss fight. And it's that key. Plant 42 also represents a plant that was accidentally created. So they took notes on it, they tried to study it, but it was accidentally created, I believe.
Are you okay?
And they called it Plant 42 because this is point 42. That's how they designate this area. But I think Plant 42 was studied after the fact. I don't think it was intended to be a BOW. But I could be wrong. I think that's what I got from the document.
Same for me, wouldn't you?
I guarantee it.
Well, Chris, this is Richard's radio. We received communication from Brad at the courtyard a little while ago, but he is still flying around in the sky. He obviously couldn't hear our voices. Maybe his radio is broken.
I see. Understood. I'll keep it. We should somehow let Brad know we're here.
Sorry, getting messages from work. Okay. Comm radio. Okay, so I was wrong about the...
At the pharmaceutical room,
I'll tell you right
found it
now.
a while ago. I think I will be able to make something.
Still getting messages from
Anyway,
work.
Chris, I'm glad you're safe.
Not important messages. Somebody's giving me a cool filing cabinet for my office. So I was wrong about the lighter. The lighter is an item you have to carry and put in your inventory. You don't get it for free. I think in later games, yeah, you have like a free slot for that's very specific for our characters. So some characters will be able to have either the lockpick or a light or something that doesn't count for your main inventory. In this case, it does. So you now need to, put that into your item management. But yeah, so that open space that we saw when it said like file, exit, and map was the radio. Let's go back and show. Uh-oh. First, let's see what's going on here. Who's shooting?
Wesker!
Chris, you're alive.
My words exactly. Where's Jill? Aren't you with Jill?
I'm sorry. We were attacked by a strange monster. I lost track of her while we were scouting around. I hope she's okay.
I see. Well, it's not your fault. This place is crazy. If we stay here, all of us will end up dead. What should we do, Wesker?
We have to complete this mission. Whether we escape or stay and look for Jill, we don't have many bullets left, and we can't even protect ourselves. We are still in trouble. Chris, there are a lot of locked rooms in that house. Check them out one more time. There must be a place to hide safely. I'll look around the house a little more.
Okay.
Let's get going.
I don't know what these are. I forgot what these are. Wasps or something. Anyways. Oh, I was going to show you. Let's see. Now it's complete. So if you look at the upper right hand corner, it says map, file, radio, and exit. That was the missing piece we needed. So now if you notice that vine that used to jump out and trap us and strangle us for a bit is now gone, because that was plant 42, which is now done, gone. Okay, hold on. Let me, because I'm getting a message from work. Yep. Okay. All good. All good. So, let's see. What do I need? I'm gonna get the flamethrower just because it's kind of fun to play with. Oh, I didn't go down to the basement. If I go down back where the sharks are, let me do that. Let me do that first. Because I have the control room key. So before we exit this place and finish with this part of the map or of the game, let's go back and take a look at the sharks again, because we only visited once with Rebecca, but normally, ideally, what you would do is you'd return back with your main character, and then there's supplies down there and things you may need to replenish your inventory, your ammunition, and even your health, I believe. And there still might be like a key item or two. There's a reason why you have to go down. And we're going to save here too. So yeah, music in this is fantastic. I mean, I have the soundtrack saved. Absolutely fantastic. And I don't know if it skipped it. I think it did. I think it did with Rebecca. Yeah, it did. There's a cutscene originally. And again, this is a ROM hack. You know, maybe doesn't have absolutely everything. But yeah, it's locked and I have to find, there's a keyhole. You have used the control room key. So when you first enter this, and I don't think it played. It might have. I don't think it did. When you enter this room, even as Rebecca, you get the point of view from the sharks' point of view, swimming through the water, and it's kind of like a little reference to Jaws, because you know this is inspired by a lot of different things. The typewriter is inspired by Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. The mansion setting is from The Shining. When you see that first-person view of the shark swimming through the water and then coming up to you, you know that's obviously from Jaws. You know, so there's a lot of different nods and references to past film franchises and things of that nature. So this may not have everything, but it has all the important stuff. I would argue the most important stuff. Yeah, but you're supposed to come down here as your character to find more things. So you drain the water and then you push the button and sound from the next room. Cool. And so yeah, so the music is fantastic. I've always it's always been such an important element in the overall composition of this game, because without the music, I mean, it's just it's dead. It really brings a lot of life and a lot of mood and suspense to the game. So now the sharks, you can't kill them, but they're completely harmless. They cannot bite you. They cannot do anything to you. You've taken away their water. They will always flop like this. They will never die, but you've disabled them permanently. And then it also opens up this, which I believe has maybe a key item or something. So the music is fantastic. Let's go back to that. So the music is great. Now, when it came to the director's cut, so when they first came out with this game, you know, the rating system and the ESRB, well, they're all what in use. I think there's something here. Yeah, you see another, can't carry any more items. Yeah, I see there's another key I don't need. When it came to the ESRB, the rating system for games, the game could not pass an X rating, and is it an X rating or A rating, something like that, or NC-17 something, without being censored. So that's why they censored so much of it, just to even get it to pass here in America. And that's why, you know, most of the content that we already saw or witnessed or experienced was never for many years ever even known to people, never seen before, unless you were in Japan, Germany, or France. Their versions got it. But so to get it to pass, they had to go through a bunch of edits, and they said you can't put out the game and release it the way it is. You have to change it. So they changed it, and they got it passed, and they released it. And then they came out, you know, with the sequel. This game, to Capcom, the company, when they first came out with it, said this is going to be garbage. Don't even put our name on it. Don't even put it out. You know, this is going to be a terrible game. These tank controls and everything. What is this, right? The game was a smash hit, so people just loved it. And so they're like, holy smokes, we're super wrong. Let's come out with a sequel the very next year, as soon as, you know, because they want to capitalize on it. I would give it a year and a half, 2 years, but they said next year they were going to come out with the second game. And Shinji Mikami, the director and creator, oops, let's fix this. I think that's okay. The director became a producer, and he got one of the game designers, Hideki Kamiya, to become the new director for the second game, the sequel. And so in doing that, with Kamiya being a first-time director, it went in all different directions. Any ideas that anybody had was approved. They threw everything in there, and the game was so far removed from the first game that they said there's no true connection here. I mean, it's garbage. And they brought someone in to fix it. And when they brought someone in to fix it, the person was a great writer, very skilled and experienced, and said, listen, there's no way to fix this game, period, unless you literally go back to scratch. You literally go back to the drawing board. And so obviously that posed a big issue, because they had already spent a year in development. That means they would need to spend another year to go back to square one and retool everything to make it a better sequel. And even Shinji Mikami himself said, you know, yes, we can release this game as it is, the sequel, and we're going to make a ton of money, but it's going to be garbage and they're going to hate it. But so what? We're going to make money. So that was an option. I'll tell you what he did instead. Let's listen to the radio first.
This is Brad. I know you can't answer me, but somehow, give me a sign.
This is Chris. Brad, can you hear me? Damn!
But what Shinji Mikami and the team decided to do instead, basically Shinji Mikami, he had to go to the board and he had to go to his company and say, listen, I know this is crazy. I know what I'm doing. You got to go with me on this, but we're not going to put it out. we're gonna go back to the drawing board and remake the entire game from scratch. Save whatever assets and code we can, but we're gonna go back to the beginning. And so he did that. They went back, and that meant another year in development, which meant that the release date, they were definitely not going to make the release date, and they were going to upset many people, because Resident Evil 2 was one of the most highly anticipated games of that year, and if not the most anticipated game. And so everybody wanted to get their hands on it. And then to hear, sorry, we're going to have to push back our date for another year, left many people very upset. So to kind of remedy that, they decided, well, in the meantime, let's do this. Let's re-release the first game as a director's cut. And we're going to put back in all the stuff we were forced to take out, which is kind of funny because you're first told you can't put it out the way it is. You need to cut and edit because this has to be a different American version. And then a year later, they're like, yeah, actually, I can't use that. Wrong one. And then a year later, they're like, no, we're gonna stuff that all back in and re-release it as a director's cut to kind of hold people off. And the director's cut actually had, I believe, a demo. The original one had a demo for Resident Evil 2. You got to play like the first 10 minutes of the game or something like that, a certain section that they were able to get ready. And it's literally just the very beginning of the game, just a little snippet at the very beginning of the game. That's the one that I had. I had the director's cut that had the dual discs. So you had the director's cut, and then on the side was a demo for Resident Evil 2. And so that was to build up hype and to get people, get some positive feedback on the game, so people knew that it wasn't a disaster, that get them looking forward to it and excited. It looks really good. And it did. It looked really good. I played Resident Evil, and then I played the demo, even though I owned the game, because this is the year 2000 by the time I owned it. So it was already out for like 2-3 years. So even though I had the demo, I still played that first before I actually popped in the actual complete disc. And so it was funny because, I don't know, due to a mistake or a glitch or something that happened, when they put out the director's cut, they put in a few little things that were not seen before or were just in the Japanese version. Very minor things that aren't that noteworthy per se. However, so yeah, but most of it was the same. That's why, they rearranged the puzzles and the items, and you get like 1 or 2 new costumes, but it really wasn't a lot. And that cut content remained cut. So it was a mistake and they couldn't go back on it. So they just said, just whatever, forget it, keep it out there, which is why this director's cut is the true director's cut, because somebody actually took the time to recode everything and stuff it back in there the way it was originally supposed to be. Before we get to the next sequence, I'll finish up this story by saying, again, the music is very important. And when they got to the director's cut DualShock edition, they re-released it a third time, but this time they said, listen, there's this new controller out that vibrates and only certain games are compatible with it. We're going to re-release Resident Evil for the third time. We're going to call it the Greatest Hits DualShock edition, director's cut DualShock edition. And with that, it was the franchise was so popular, they made so much money, they decided, well, now we can get a really good composer. This guy who was Samurai Yamarogochi, something like that, Samurai Yamarogochi. I forgot his name, but he was considered like the Beethoven of Japan, because this guy, I guess, was going, I don't know if he was going blind. I don't think he was. I know he was going deaf. Supposedly he was going deaf. And so it created a lot of mystique and mystery and intrigue around, his quiet persona and his great music, apparently, his wonderful compositions. And so they got him to come in and remake the entire soundtrack from scratch, all brand new, a whole new soundtrack for the DualShock edition. And what they produced was a weird, hokey, cheesy old Casio digital sounding soundtrack that was just horrible. and laughable and cringy, and only to find out that the twist of the story is that composer ended up being found out that he was never deaf, and he never actually composed his own music. He had a ghostwriter. The ghostwriter came forward and revealed that it was all a hoax, that he was just the front man, and he lied about being deaf to create more mystery and intrigue with his character and his music. But other people were making reports saying things like, we've caught him reacting to people knocking at the door, or school bells, or people honking in cars, or things like that. And so, yeah, he was completely found out, and that whole controversy was just a huge mess. But that's the story of the music in the different games. So now we get to this part, which is a great introduction to a strong enemy in the game. Really freaky, especially when you see that green hand. Look at that hand just grab the door. This is called the Hunter. And something about these old graphics just look, fantastic. Now remember, this is a formidable enemy. This thing jumps, it screeches and slashes at you. This thing can take you out in one swipe. And brutally too. But we have our little hand cannon here. So I'm going to save and open this door. Because now we have the helmet key, the final mansion key, to open up all the rooms that were still locked from us, locked to us before. But the hunters are really, and a Beretta will not do the trick. A Glock will not do the trick. They had in the game Stars, my character here, and Jill Valentine have a special Beretta called the Samurai Edge, a very specific custom-made gun. It doesn't do it unless you really are really good at the game and are able to dodge the swipes and jumps from the hunters. They're extremely agile, the hunters. They can jump clean over you, back and forth through the hallways, and take you out in 1, 2, or 3 hits at most. And they swipe from on top, they swipe from on bottom. So Berettas don't do the trick. So you need to either use a shotgun, which does pretty good damage, or obviously, if you can, the most powerful gun here, which is the Colt Python. But as Jill, you get a grenade launcher, so that you get to utilize. Which, and again, here's another example of the 2 or 3 or 4 of these Magnum rounds that you get only in these special rooms. But let's see, other than that, I can only see the moonlight in dense forest. So here you get a Doom book. I'm not going to get that. I already have that. But in the Doom book, you get like a coin. You need 2 coins to open up this big fountain later on. You need the wolf coin and the eagle coin. So here we go. This is what I was talking about earlier. We enter this room. If you listen really closely, you can hear the nail tapping on the floor of the hunter walking. And that is creepy. Okay, so you see they swipe down and then they move fast. They're not like zombies at all. These things run and move fast and they leap. And they swipe at you at the bottom. They end up jumping more up towards the air. I forgot what prompts them to jump, usually when you're blasting them. But yeah, it's so creepy the way they just move so slowly and then they run at you. And the graphics, again, well, even though these are really old graphics, something about the old graphics make the creatures and the monsters look so much more creepy, look so much creepier, especially the white eyes with no pupils. Really creepy stuff. If you notice, it has like the brown veins, these purplish brown veins around it, but it's mainly green. Really creepy. I think, honestly, that the design in game of the hunters is a lot creepier than the concept art. The concept art is pretty cool, but I think they look so much scarier in game. Wesker gives you some more supplies here that you need. Let's see, what do I need? I think I already put that in. Okay, so I pretty much have everything I want or need. There's a lion. I have to put 2 some lions have different color eyes. I have to put 2 different color diamonds in his eyes to get some ammo or the magnum something. But I pretty much have everything I need here. You see this, the ammo disc, the battery, chemicals. You see, that's the metal, the wolf metal and the eagle metal. So I'm going to get those now just because. Let's see, music notes, jewelry, emblem, crank. Here's a bazooka, flamethrower, Beretta shotgun. So that's pretty much it. Let's see. And I'm going to save as soon as I get out the door. What are we on right now? 2 hours and 14 minutes. Okay. We're getting through the game. I suspect we're going to finish before 3 hours. But anyways, so that is, yeah, that's the music of the game. The graphics. Obviously, there's no zombies. Everything's been repopulated by these hunters. Okay. And this is where the game goes up a level. It really gets a lot tougher because you have much less shotgun ammunition than you do, you know, magazines or Beretta clips. So yeah, that's for me pretty easy. But again, this is just the fun, quick version for us to get through it. Normally, I'd be a lot slower, much more meticulous, very cautious. I would not be running. I would be walking. And so, obviously, in this version, we're kind of just acing through everything. See, there's another, and I'm gonna press this to aim to the next one. What's nice with the auto aim is if I hold the ready button, which puts me on guard. And if I press another button, it moves me to exactly wherever the next person is. So if I shoot someone here and there's someone to the side, it goes right to the side. So pretty nice controls, which you really won't hear much in a Resident Evil game. That's the funny part. You really won't. Ooh, ow, okay. And you can see how many times they've hit me already. You know, that's just kind of the way it is. They're gonna get you no matter what. And some people have done speed runs, completely no damage, which has been amazing. I am not that good. I'm really not. Okay, we saved it. Here we go, mansion key. Okay, yeah, this is an interesting room. Oh, this is a document we need to read. Orders. Top secret, July 22nd, 1998, 2:13. To the head of the security department. X Day is approaching. Complete the following orders within the week. Lure the members of STARS into the lab and have them fight the BOW in order to obtain data of actual battles. Collect 2 embryos per BOW type, making sure to include all the species except for Tyrant. Destroy the Archelay lab, including all researchers and lab animals, in a manner which will seem accidental. White Umbrella. So somebody has these orders. Somebody knows what's going on and has the orders to collect the embryos, to collect data on how I'm handling the weapons. Well, the BOWs, the monsters that are designed are called BOWs. They're biological organic weapons. I've mentioned that before. See, this will get me the magnum, is if I take that eye inside that taxidermy head and I put it in the lion statue and give him 2 different color eyes, I get a gun. This door, I know I said this before, but I've never known what this door is for. I don't know what it leads to. Numerical key panel, I have no idea. I know in the this was intended for, if this is not used, it's intended for something, because there was a lot of content cut from early development that was put into the remake, which is the graveyard. This goes into a side room, an offshoot, that was in the original designs. They may have cut it, which is why the door's still here, but it leads nowhere. It's never meant to be open, or this is open somehow for something, for somebody, and I just don't have access. I don't know. So anyways, where am I going right now? I need to go to, I need to go, where do I need to go? I collected that. So let's go battle Jan, which is where we came from. Now I have to go across the map real quick. We have our second encounter with the snake, Jan. And we're going to have a fun time with this one. So we've pretty much briefly went over most key aspects of the game. Yeah. And bada bum. So the rest is just enjoying it now. You know, I guess I'm gonna just be more in the moment and enjoy it. So I will be playing Resident Evil 2. When, I don't know, but at some point I will. And I'll be playing a lot of different games. I just like storytelling. I think that's one of the most valuable things people can offer to each other is to pass down stories. So this is my story with the game. With the game. Of the game. It's kind of a pretty room. So we go back to the piano. And our second battle with Jan, I think that he's even more decayed here by the look of his skin. I could be wrong, but it looks like he's more affected by the T virus now. But he could be the same. Maybe he just looks different in the attic. I forgot. But I'm definitely taking hits here, and I'm choosing to just hold my ground and just to keep blasting him, because there's no point in evading or dodging him. I have infinite health, and he's gonna hit me no matter what. Even if I'm really good at move around, at most I've only taken 1 or 2 hits, and that's me at my best. Is when I run around. That's not a good example, but when I've run around before, you see he traps you with his tail, and I've been able to pull off shots, but it's tough. It's tough. He's fast. And so that's the end of Jan. Again, Jan is an accidentally created creature. He's an accidental. He was never a design by the researchers. It's too dark to see. Will you jump down? Yes. He was never designed by a team of scientists or researchers. He came by accidentally. This grave is actually the grave of George Trevor, the person who created this mansion, who was then killed for knowing too much. But that will come out more in the remake. But I've always been curious, whose grave is this? And that you won't know for, unless you really read the books like I have several times, or obviously get to the remake. But I wrote a story inspired by this, an original story, and it was cool. I wrote it in high school. It got me an A+. So that was pretty cool. Loosely inspired, but definitely inspired. Okay, so now we have more zombies coming. I think this is the room in the DualShock Director's Cut, the DualShock edition, the one that had that horrible music by Samuragochi, whatever his name is. Just the worst. It sounded like music for like a depressed clown or something. Somebody said that in a video once, and it was hilarious because it was just so true. And this is creepy. Again, zombies, partaking in somebody else's corpse, and I don't know. I think sometimes this corpse could even rise up. Maybe not. But yet another choice, because if you choose to use your shotgun to get those 2 herbs behind there, do you really need them? Is it worth it? This game is all about choices. So now I'm in the kitchen. And if I'm correct, you see, I don't need whatever that is. If I'm correct, yeah, here we go. This is a cutscene that plays with a zombie hand coming out at me. Very funny. But it gets creepy here. Look at him in that dark corner right there. Right there. Oh, creepy. And I've done it before. If you look really close at them, again, something about these old PlayStation graphics just still make it look so creepy and eerie when you get a good close-up of how the zombies actually look. Very, very creepy. This is the elevator. It takes me up to like the 3rd floor, I think. Yeah. Yeah, 3rd floor. I don't know if we can get into it. We'll see. I think you need a special key. You know, I could cut through this whole thing and get right to the ending already, but I want to briefly just scan through all these different places. See, look at that in the corner. That is so eerie. You can't tell me that if you saw a zombie just standing there in a dark corner, idly just staring at you, that you wouldn't be freaked out. So now we're in the library. There's a door here. I think there's a zombie here. Boom. Okay, more to read. Scrapbook. And I love these files. These are so cool. Raccoon Times, May 27th, 1998. Animal attack, woman mutilated. May 20th, around 10 p.m., a 20-year-old young woman's body was found by a passerby on the left bank of Marble River in the Cider District of Raccoon City. Raccoon police assume it has to be a grizzly or other animal's doing because there are teeth marks along her mutilated arms and left foot that show considerable power. Since she was wearing a hiking boot on her remaining foot, it has been determined that she was attacked in the Arkalay Mountains and fell into the river. They are hurrying to identify this woman. Raccoon Weekly, June 16th, 1998. Monsters in Arkalay Mountains. Some people claim they've seen monsters in the Arkalay Mountains. The monsters are supposedly about the same size as large dogs and usually run in a pack as wolves do. This may sound like a group of ordinary wild dogs, but these monsters are surprisingly fierce and hard to hurt. They say these dogs won't bother you unless you wake them, so you smart readers should stay out of the Arkalay Mountains for the time being. If you're looking for adventure, check it out. You want to try? Raccoon Times, July 9th, 1998. Mystery in Arkalay Mountains. Mountain road blocked. Due to successive disasters in the Arkalay Mountains, the city authorities have decided to block the road leading to the foothills. At the same time, Raccoon Police intend to begin the search for lost people with the help of STARS team members. They expect great difficulty because of the vast size of Arkalay Mountains and the primeval, oh jeez, it's terrible of me, and the primeval forest that covers most of the area. Also, people are still reporting sightings of grotesque monsters in the mountains. And that was Scrapbook. So now when we kind of put all the pieces together, it kind of really does a good job of telling a story, especially when you go back. I can go back to the files and read it in order and then figure out the story of what happened prior and what's really going on now. So we know this was an accident. They were experimenting. The virus that they were working on got loose and escaped. And because of that, people became zombies. And because the researchers, lab assistants, etc., the staff became zombies, the whole mansion and laboratory just went downhill. It was a complete disarray. because of that, everybody was infected. They became zombies. The monsters, they weren't taking care of them anymore. A lot of them escaped. The dogs escaped. Those are the dogs that escaped, obviously, that went into the mansion, or that went into, I'm sorry, the forest. And those are the dogs that the keeper was keeping an eye on and feeding. Yeah, when those dogs escaped, they went into the forest, and they were the ones attacking people. And let's see. So yeah, so that's the dogs they're talking about. So this is just a battery. I already have that. So this is like the third floor. Not too much going on. Besides some key stuff. We saw the, oh boy, missed them. So, you know, there's like a secret bookcase that opens, you know, once we get that statue right where that light was shining down, that down light, the spotlight. And it gave us like an MO disc, what we'll need at the end. The MO discs saves our friend. We'll go over that later. Oh yeah, you see that zombie was, I don't want to say alive, but, you know, undead. This always kind of told me that there was a door or something here originally. There had to be something the way it looks here, but, you know, probably cut content. The door is locked. Oh boy, what does that lead to? I don't know. Is this the door? Is this, I wonder if this, I've never thought about that before, if this is the door with a key panel. That would be interesting to me. That would be very interesting to me if that's the door with a key panel. But I'm on a different level though. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways. So the virus escaped, people turned into zombies. The dogs they were keeping escaped, went into the forest, starting to hurt other people, got too much attention. Then they cut off access to the forest and went to investigate, and here we are. Deep in the Arklay forest, which is, I always thought it was such an interesting concept to have a city called Raccoon City, of all things called Raccoon. It's kind of funny. A small tiny little town in the middle by itself, completely isolated from the whole world, in the middle of this giant vast forest, the Arklay forest, the Arklay mountains. Just seems like a really weird choice. Very, very isolated kind of thing. So, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to live there. I'm in Buena Park, California, next to Knott's Berry Farm, but yeah, I'm near Knott's Berry Farm in Disneyland. However, I'm going to be moving to Ohio, so it kind of has a little bit of that old small town feel. Not old, but definitely small town. Oh geez, yeah, I didn't even realize I got this guy here. So that's the music room. What's interesting too, I didn't mention in the beginning, is when you go over here, you see his body's gone. I've never understood that. I assume maybe it was fully eaten by the hunters or something. I don't know. I don't even know if they actually eat people. But Kenneth's body from the beginning, when we have the zombie here, if I leave the room and leave the zombie here in the room with them, and I come back way later and I let a lot of time pass, when I return to the room and I take out the zombie, I get to see that Kenneth has his legs completely eaten off. So it's just like a kind of funny little thing to see when he has his whole body here, and if I don't kill the zombie and I leave and I come back later, the zombie has eaten his legs. And so it's a very old game, so it's very funny to kind of see those little details and things you can see if you play the game in just a certain way. So we have pretty much everything we need. This mansion is pretty much emptied or exhausted of anything that we need to progress. So we're going to now go to finish the game into the final third act. So to do that, where do I need to go? Where do I need to go? I know where I need to go. And where is that? Back over here? No. Over here? Yes. It's on the first floor, I believe, but I'm going to go back this way. So we're going to enter the last part of the game here. We're on 2 minutes and 30. I'm sorry, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Roughly. So let's go all the way back and finish the game. So we've been in the mansion. We went to the guardhouse. We came back to the mansion for the second time. They call it the return of the mansion. And now we're going to go back to the courtyard. We're going to return to the courtyard, and we're going to go to the underground access area, which will lead us into the true underground labs. And then that's where we're going to find the conclusion of this game. Okay, I think I have what I need. Let's hope. Let's save. Okay. Oh, you got me. Okay, I think if I haven't done it yet, and I'm gonna save here, so in case I have to reload to make it faster, I think I put the battery in already. So what I need to do is, oh, okay, I drained the water, but I also brought the water back up, which is perfect, because when you drain the water, it shoots out through the bottom of the courtyard, which creates that fast waterfall that's streaming too quickly for me to enter. But I can release that and fix it by bringing the water back up so that it pools, and then I can finally go down to the courtyard now that I have this lift working due to the battery, which works perfectly. And now, if you see here, remember that waterfall? Well, now it's no longer there. And I will descend. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Ah, now I need the special crank, which is not the square crank. This is the hexagon crank, I believe. Now, I think this is the one where I have to crank it 2 or 3 times because there's a gap. Obviously, there's a gap at the bottom, you know, or else I couldn't even go through it because the gap is too wide to jump. And if you fall through it, you just go straight down a bottomless pit, assumably. But if you crank this enough, I think that gap actually reaches the sidewall here so that I can walk through it and enter a secret room on the side. Or that might be a little later. I don't know. I think I use a crank twice. But for now, we're going to go into this room here. This is obviously a nod to Indiana Jones, so check this out. The rock moves and we run away. Many times have I been crushed by that rock. This cool little hero stance there. I think over there is just like more ammo or something if I go back where the rock was originally. For now, we're just gonna do this, and I think I go through here. Okay, so there's some music. Oh boy, yeah. So actually, before I do this, let me go back. Let me go back. So I'm gonna need something to get me through this one. Not a weapon. I have all the weapons I need, but what I really need is a knife or a flamethrower to cut down those webs. So that spider was Black Tiger. I'll go over that in a bit. But for now, let's go back to the beginning of this area. Can't find my water bottle. So here, yeah, I think I'm supposed to enter this place first. So let's see. I think it does a big circle too. So I'll start over here. So here's some machinery. And the remake does a fantastic job at remaking this whole game the way it was truly intended to be experienced. But we'll get to that. I'll play the remake, of course. That's arguably my favorite Resident Evil game. Okay, so we go back here, and now we see a friend.
Enrico!
Don't come any closer, Chris.
Wait, what happened?
Double crosser!
Don't!
Hell. Umbrella.
Who is it? Is someone there? Double crosser? What did he mean by that?
Okay, so that was Enrico. I think he's the captain of Bravo team. And so somebody shot him, trying to cover up something. So we know somebody has orders. Somebody has orders to collect data on how me and maybe Jill are running through the mansion handling these creatures, to collect data on how well these creatures work. To collect embryos of every creature so they can reproduce it, and blow up everything to look like an accident. Is this, did I do? Yeah, I think this goes in circles. Okay, so I have to get out of here. You know what I'm going to do? I don't have any space either. Arg. We're going to have to see if I could get to a chest somehow. I don't think I can. I don't think there is one here. That's the annoying part. I don't think there is a chest near here. And nothing I have is going to help me. Arg, I may have to go back. I have to go to the guardhouse. I didn't think of that. And so this is backtracking, which is annoying, but again, it could really be worse. I think there's a cheat where I can access my chest wherever I want, but I don't want to ruin that, because if you put too many cheats, the wrong cheats on this game, it makes it unstable, and entering certain doors or prompting certain videos to play or things to happen messes with the game and can sometimes cause it to crash. And I don't want to do that. I mean, I've saved it relatively soon, relatively recently, but still, I'd rather just make the 1 minute trip here real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that crank. I don't think I need the square crank anymore, so I'm gonna replace it with a flamethrower. And I don't think I need this. I'm gonna replace that with, I don't know, maybe an MO disc or something. Just for now. Just for now. There's no more spots left in the chest, which is really tricky. So with no spots left in the chest, that means I can't really open up any spaces in my inventory right now, which is okay. I think I could still get by and finish the game, even though, because sometimes you have to have an open space to pick up something, but I think I can get by. Let's find out. So now that I have the flamethrower, now we can proceed on to Black Tiger. So we're gonna go to this big mama spider. So we've seen different spiders, tarantulas in the game, as you saw in the guardhouse. This is a giant version of that. Yeah, well, they were giant spiders, but this is a bigger spider. So this one is called Black Tiger, I assume because it's of gray color, but it has these black stripes, brownish black stripes, I think it has. And so they call it Black Tiger. And I'm already gonna get my flamethrower ready. I'm still poisoned. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't make a difference. We're gonna come over here. There, you see those stripes? So we're just gonna kind of burn it. Normally what you do, like anything else, is you would let it spew its three little acidic that acid spit there. And then you would move over. And yeah, that thing does a lot of damage. But because, again, playing the quick, fun, easy way, I'm just going to go ahead and just take it out there. And does it have baby spiders that come out? I don't know. Creepy, creepy giant spider. I mean, terrifying to me, absolutely. Ah, I thought I had... I don't? Holy moly. You're kidding me. Arg. Truly arg. Well, I done messed up. I thought I had infinite flamethrower. Apparently, I do not. And I can't carry this one either. I have to go back to the guardhouse. Okay, I'll edit this part, most likely. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. So this playthrough probably will take 3 hours just because I went through almost all of the rooms. About 85% of the rooms, I'd want to say. With the exception of a few hidden places. Like that bookcase on the 3rd level. Once I push the statue into the proper place. And a few little things like that. But other than that, yeah, everything should be pretty good. I do need to have a space available because I need to pick up a flamethrower later. So yeah, I do need to open up a space here. I don't know how, but I will. You see, there's no spaces available here. None. And so, yeah, like I said, I will probably edit this so that it's a little bit cleaner. And really just for time. If I decide to do it. But really, it's just for time. Because again, rage backtracking, oh boy, that is just... Oh, I used to experience so much frustration having to backtrack and forget something and go back and forth and back and forth, and it drives me crazy. They solved this issue in the remake, but not so much here. So this, thankfully, I can burn off. Cool. Okay, and I think over here is a save room. So I can play with things if I need to. Yep, good. Okay, here's a save room. You have to get through Black Tiger and open that door to get to the save room. I don't think there's anything I need right now. I think I have everything I need. There's little poisonous asps, little spiders, or snakes. Let's save. So saying, will you put down the flamethrower? Yes. Okay, so now we want to enter, well, hold on. Not quite yet. I think, yeah, this is the room I was talking about. So you see this opening here? In the exact opposite wall here, there's an opening that where you get another key item you're going to need. Even in there, you can see there's a little hole up there of holding an item you need. Or you can get at least. And yet another Indiana Jones moment, so... Oh, yeah, you don't make it to the end. Oh, you do. Whew. I think that was one of the first times I made it all the way to the end. Usually what you can do is jump into this area here, and it saves you from the boulder. But I thought for sure it was going to take me out, and it didn't. And that's awesome. We take the MO disc. No, thank goodness we finally have a space available, and I'm going to leave that space open just in case. But I'm pretty sure I'll be okay regardless. So there you go. MO disc, you need that to save your friend in the end. And if you don't know what it is and you don't collect it, it bites you later on. So time to readjust, get comfy. Okay, so I don't know what these double doors lead to. It's welded and does not open. I have to imagine there's a lot of content that was cut from the very beginning before the game was in full development, but I don't know. Okay, wolf, we have the wolf coin here, so there's the metal, inserts into the slot, and then we come over here, and now we're going to enter the eagle metal, the eagle coin. And this looks neat. I like the way that looks. The water completely recedes, and then this special door opens. And thank goodness for tank controls. Oh boy. Alright, now we're headed down to the secret, super duper underground basement. So all that stuff we saw right now was just the amuse-bouche. I don't know what that means, but it was a line in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and through context. It's pretty funny. I don't know, is that like appetizer or something? This, I believe, is locked. The door is tightly... Okay, right. Okay. Tightly shut. There's a panel on the right. It won't open until the very end. So we have time. We're fine. So let's see. I'm gonna equip this and save. So for me, just one button on this emulator. If I press F1, it just saves automatically to the first slot. Let's see. We're gonna experience another variant of zombies. It's not a crazy variant, but it is a little different. Oh boy, there we go. And bada boom. And once again, here's another MO disc. We already have one, and it's infinite, so we didn't need to pick up. We do not need to pick up the other ones. Electronically locked. Okay, so now I have to go down to a computer, and I have to unlock this floor and this floor and another floor. This is the variant, so these are like fully derobed zombies. I don't know if these zombies are stronger. They could be. Here's a room where we find out. We look at the wall and find it says it's a secret code. It gives us the code we need to open that door. Let's read the letter. Researcher's letter. Dear Ada, I'm sorry, June 8th, 1998. Dear Ada. Ada, by the time you read this, I'll be different. No, I'll be something. Sorry, my dog is going nuts. Let me go check on him real quick. Okay, sorry, my dog thought my wife was home and he was just going nuts. Okay, back to the letter. June 8th, 1998. Dear Ada. Ada, by the time you read this, I'll be something different. Today's test turned out to be positive, just as I expected. I feel like I'm going crazy when I think about becoming one of them. Ada, you're not infected, and I hope you never will be. In case you're the last one left, take the material in the visual data room and go to the power room to operate the triggering system before you escape, and make all this public through the media. If everything is in order, all the locks can be opened by the security system. You can access the system if you log in with my name from the terminal in the small lab and enter the password. The password is your name. To unlock the door at B2, where the visual data room is located, you'll need to access with our names first, then enter another password. I've written the code below. I'm sure you'll understand it easily. And this is my last hope. If you find me completely changed, please kill me yourself. Password, Garberlygook. Yours, John. So that's from John the researcher. John, Ada. And then what we find out when we turn off the light, I think like a black light or something shows on the picture, and then it says the word mole, I want to say. Okay, so this panel will lead me into this room here. I don't have the code to unlock it, so we'll come back to that. But for now, we have names and we have a code. So we need to go find the room that has the locks. Now, these zombies here. Oh, that's cool. Actually, is this it? Oh, I just saw it too. There was a bullet hole. Did you see that? Was that just me? No, there was a bullet hole. Because some angles have this secret hidden thing where you can shoot towards the screen, and it creates bullet holes, like through glass, like a bullet through glass or something. That's trippy. Yeah, I know it does in certain places here, especially I think with a shotgun. I didn't think it did it with the Magnum, but apparently it does. I didn't know that was one of them. Okay, the power room. All right, I need to find this door. What door am I going into? Nope. So the thing I was going to say about these zombies is I don't know if they're particularly stronger than normal zombies. I assume maybe because by this point you would have you know, a shotgun and better weapons, upgraded weapons. Darn, where do I go? But can I go through here? Probably not. Oh, I can. Okay. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, the thing about those zombies in that hallway is that at least they do spawn. They do respawn. So that means as many times as you try to take them out, they will respawn again and come back constantly, over and over and over, in a endless loop, endless cycle. So you can just save ammo if you're playing this game and you're playing it the legitimate way, and just try to run around them. But if you really need to take them out, you can. Just be careful with your ammo supply. Okay, so we found the room where we're accessing the computer. Let's see. Login was his name. So his name was John. And his password was a girlfriend, Ada. Ada is a character that would definitely come up in Resident Evil 2. Here it doesn't make the most amount of sense because it kind of gives you the idea that she's here somehow in the lab or nearby or has access to this lab, so she's able to come down and maybe even see him. And then that's where he says, you know, use these credentials to get into the computer, make this all public and put it out to the media. You know, be careful, but yeah, Ada, as far as I know, Ada does not, I guess it kind of makes sense. She might potentially have come down here at some point, but we'll talk more about that in Resident Evil 2. You gotta love these old-time graphics. Okay, so level 2 is unlocked because of the password mole, but now we're using Ada's name, and we have access to level 3. Okay. That's what we need. One thing we picked up, I didn't talk about, is I picked up a roll of film. I think it is. They're still images, photographs of the experiments that we're going to see in a little bit. So we have power now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go past this guy. Well, no, I'm not. Oh, get away from me. See, doesn't really matter. Oh, come on. Terrible, terrible. So now I'm going to go upstairs and get to that room that I unlocked. And bada bing. So I was wrong. We are going to do at least 3 hours, which is fine. It's a part of the fun, the journey. Notice, and I always like to tell people, notice the camera angles, because a lot of times they are trying to give you a clue. They are trying to give you a hint. Let's see. So here we have a projector. And now I'm going to play the slides. So Umbrella Incorporated, bioweapon materials. MA39 are the Cerberus. These are the dogs. These are the dogs they experimented on using the T virus, which T virus stands for tyrant virus. Let's see, we have the FI-3, the Neptune, the great white sharks they experimented on. The MA-121, also known as the Hunter. We've seen these guys. And the T-002, also known as Tyrant, their ultimate creation. Nothing there, but what do we get? We now get a slide, the Bioweapon Research Institute R&D staff. And if we notice on the far right, that blonde, yellow-haired man with the sunglasses looks awfully familiar. Nice sunglasses. Okay. So we're going to come over here. We look at this panel. Do we press the button? Whoa, what's behind there? We look behind the wall and the pillar moves. And here, I don't know what it is. It's something or other. It's the lab key, which we will take. So the lab key. All right, we'll have that for later. Now, right now, we're going to go down back to the first floor, and we're going to explore some of the doors that were previously closed to us. That should be open now. Okay, I'm going to start with, that is, I think, John's room. Over here is... Zombies! Zombies. I think there's 4. Yeah, there's 4. I think that's the max capacity they can have, is like 4 zombies in a room. Okay, so, very good. This is a passcode output machine. If I had an ammo disc, I can get the code. You see, this starts back from the mansion. If you don't have this from the mansion, you gotta either backtrack, or in some cases, you just can't go back at all. Passcode 01. I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son. Genesis 22, verse 16. You gotta love the Bible. Genesis is wonderful. Wonderful book in the Bible. 1998. Remember, this is made in 1996, but it's set in 1998. This is a fax to General Manager of Sanitation Division from Special Committee on Disasters, Raccoon Special Research Department. This memorandum is strictly confidential and must be destroyed as soon as it is understood. Regarding the T virus outbreak, which occurred recently, this committee conducted a field survey. According to the survey results, estimates on the amount of damage caused by the accident are considerably greater than reported earlier. First, Although it is very difficult to obtain accurate data in terms of actual numbers, it is thought that more than half of the researchers died after exposure to the T virus. The body count will most likely increase since nearly all of the survivors show symptoms peculiar to the T virus. Second, our security system is still in operation. However, our special security guard squad has been nearly destroyed. Because of that, research information considered by our company to be top secret has been made available to outsiders. Countermeasures should be taken as soon as possible. Finally, many of the subjects from the experiment have escaped and are out of control. We believe that some researchers were killed by these subjects and their bodies were mutilated. By curious coincidence, these events are proof of the success of our research. However, there is also a very high risk that this news may be leaked to the press if we don't act immediately. The condition is very serious. Our operation to cover up the situation is difficult to attain. However, we hope the problem will be solved quickly. We are especially concerned about the state police and STARS are intervening too quickly. We need to act on this situation as well. Okay, just more support of the story. And yeah, yep, we're doing pretty good so far. We've uncovered the mystery for the most part and collecting evidence. Well, we're not necessarily collecting evidence, but we are uncovering the mystery of what happened here. The research they were doing and everything else. So, nope, I don't have to go to this one. This one I already went into. This is the final chapters of the game. So, whoo, yeah, they move fast. They move fast. The zombies upstairs in the mansion take a second to turn. You have used the lab key. It's useless now. Will you discard? Yes. And that always freaked me out. That loud buzz was so scary, especially when you're really into this game. You don't expect it. Okay, this is a big part of the game here. So we're going to go over here to the save room, and I'm going to swap some items. Now that I don't need the metal, I don't need the crank. Those are used up. What I will probably need is... at the end of the game, I need the battery. So I'm going to get myself the battery. Yeah, Doom Book 1 and 2, that's where you found the eagle and the wolf medal. So we came across those as well. Let's see, where's my battery? There's the battery. What else do I want? What else do I want? What else do I want? I think for funsies, I'm going to take the rocket launcher. I've never been into the bazooka, so I'm not going to take that. Other than that, what will I don't need to. I'll just replace it with something kind of fun. Let's see what we got here. Or replace it with a lighter, because why not? So let's save. Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're going to get into some more meat and potatoes. So, yeah, these aren't... That isn't the best example of a creepy zombie. There's other ones that look slightly different that I would argue look better. Or creepier, rather. But yeah, there's something about old graphics that are very interesting. They make it scarier, especially in like the Silent Hill games. Silent Hill 1 for the PlayStation 1 has such a creepy aesthetic, especially because so much of it is just the old, sharp PlayStation 1 graphics. A power panel. Some areas do not have power. Will you activate the blackened out areas? Yes, I think I will. What's above us are chimeras. These are... Oh boy, they jump on top of you and they attack you and they climb these ceilings like crazy. The chimeras are... I think they're a blend of human DNA and fly DNA. and maybe other creatures and insects, but mainly I think I want to say like fly and some other insects mixed with human DNA. But they're really creepy. They hang from the ceiling, they claw at you, they jump at your back. They're very agile, they're very strong. This is an example of a creature that I think is scarier in its concept art than it is in its in-game graphics. Whereas I feel the opposite with the hunters. I think their in-game graphics, their model looks scarier in-game. And their concept art is okay, but I don't think as scary for some reason. But the chimeras, yeah, they to me are definitely, their concept art is much creepier looking than the way they're pulled off here in the game. And I don't fully know why that is. I own the figures, which came out real nice. I only own a few of them. I bought from Resident Evil 2, Claire Redfield, which is the sister of our character here, Chris Redfield. And in fact, I have them in the back. So right over here, I have an original of Chris Redfield from 1998. I have two of him. And then over here, I think I have one, maybe two. But I know for sure I have one Jill Valentine. And above there is, you know, Ganon and Link from Ocarina of Time. And I bought my sister Claire Redfield. Other than that, those are the only ones I own. But, you know, maybe one day I would like to see if I can find and get some of the other figures. They're very expensive, especially on eBay. They've gone up in value, obviously, and they're just way too expensive for me. They're just more than I'm comfortable spending, because obviously I have a family to support. But to help support, because my wife really is like she makes the most money between the two of us. But yeah, so we have another. Okay, I'll tell you right now. Nope. So the Chimera figure actually looks pretty good, pretty creepy. All right, here's the passcode number 3. And through your offspring, all the nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. Genesis 22:18. Gotta love Jesus. Okay, holy moly. Let's get out of here now. Okay, so we got the next code. But yeah, like I was saying, the figures for the Chimera look really good. The figures back then, you know, obviously they're dated, but boy, I still think they look really good for being what they are. The old classic Resident Evil figures. I've been trying to get a Solid Snake for a while. Did I go through here already? I don't remember. I've been trying to get a Solid Snake figure for a while. That figure doesn't look as good, especially in the face, but other than that, from Metal Gear Solid, eventually I might pick one up. I've seen one at Frankensons several times. Again, very pricey. There used to be this place called Geeky Mamas at the mall from like 10-15 years ago. They used to have some really cool rare stuff. It was like a micro miniature version of, you know, Frankensons, but they had some cool stuff there. They had those figures as well, but at the time I didn't really know Metal Gear Solid, so I didn't have much interest in it. But of course, you know, once you get into a new franchise or a new old franchise that's new to you, you start looking back for some of the old original materials, and you're like, well, that'd have been cool to have. Okay. All right. Well, I think I'll be okay. Okay, I guess I'm okay. I'm gonna save just to save. Maybe not. I'm gonna be risky here. Because what if I save and then I can't make it to the door before passing out or something, and then I'm like, well, I just messed myself up. But then I'm stuck just reloading into this gassy room. But because the codes are working well, it doesn't matter that there's gas being released. Normally, and this is to me one of the most annoying puzzles, this one here, is because it takes forever to move those boxes over those oh geez, yeah, over the vents. All right, here we go. It's a passcode output machine. If I had an MO disk, I could get the code. Oh, this one doesn't prompt you. You just have to actually go into it. Passcode number 2. And I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand in the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies. Genesis 22:17. I think some of this is kind of like foreshadowing Resident Evil 2, where it takes place in the city. What is this? I think that's just more Magnum rounds. So now I have... Okay, so now we're ready. Now I think we're really ready for the final boss of the game. And the true final act of the game. Oh boy, got all these guys here. Now that we have all 3 codes, I'm going to save here. We have all 3 codes, and we can now open this door. Okay, that's what the MO discs do. They give you those codes, which are Bible passages from Genesis, the book of Genesis in the Bible, and it allows you into the special door to find a truly old friend.
Chris,
Jill!
Chris, Wesker, he is...
I know. Shoot, it doesn't open. Look, Jill, wait here. I'll save you.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, so you open the door, now you realize that Jill Valentine from the very beginning was taken captive and detained by Captain Albert Wesker, who you already know is the spy, is the traitor. So what you do is we now lead to the final act. We're going to come back for her later, but we do know that from the very beginning of the game, that's why her gun was left on the floor, is he took her captive and probably brought her down directly down here and kept her under lock and key. In Jill's scenario, it's Chris who is captured, and you have to rescue him. And Jill's scenario is interesting. There's some slight differences. For example, there's at some point from the ceiling, the ceiling comes down on you in one of the puzzles, and I'm going to save. And you're locked in the room with the ceiling coming down. It looks like you're going to be squished, but then your friend, exclusive to that scenario, just like Rebecca is to ours, is the character Barry Burton, who comes in and slides Jill out at the last second.
You're safe.
I saw you in the garden. I've caught up with you at last.
Well, I'm glad you're all right. Don't go out alone.
Yes, sir.
And so when Barry pulls you out, he makes a comment saying you were almost a Jill sandwich, which is this really corny, terribly delivered line that just became infamous. I mean, everybody who's familiar with this franchise knows that terrible old reference, that joke, Jill Valentine. They've even put it in other games. But yeah.
Chris, as my subordinate, you have wonderful talent.
I would never work for a company like Umbrella. And Wesker, you were formerly with Umbrella.
What do you mean?
Since when have you been an Umbrella agent? And a traitor to the stars?
Now you're wrong. I was formerly with Umbrella, yes. But now I'm prepared to face anything. Even getting rid of you vigilante stars.
Now, the worst possible situation has occurred. The failure of the experiment created a virus, a biological weapon, polluting the entire lab.
No, the worst happened with the Tyrant virus. I lost some of my STARS team members because of it.
You killed them with your own hands. Did you kill Enrico?
Really?
Yeah, like this.
Rebecca!
Don't move! If you do, I'll kill you. Chris, I have something to show you. Now, walk.
Is this?
That's right. This is the ultimate life form. Tyrant. Chris? Stop it.
Wesker, you're pitiful. This is your savior? You say this failure is your savior?
You can make sure yourself whether Tyrant is a failure or not. Go to hell. Jill will join you too. What? Don't come this way! No!
You can't kill me!
Okay, so ooh, wow, quick. So this is the Tyrant. This is the ultimate enemy in the game. And so if you notice, you know, he's giant. He's got the most HP health points in an entire game. And it took 3 Magnum bullets to take him down. If you notice, he had a big heart that's on the outside of his body. But that actually isn't a weak point. That is not a soft spot for him. It's just as durable as any other part of his body. The dermis is very strong, and the enlarged heart is actually a benefit to him because of his immense strength and speed and agility. It allows his cardiovascular system to be able to support the amount of energy he puts out just to get his body going.
Wow!
Ha! It seems like this bulletproof jacket is pretty strong.
I see.
How about Captain Wesker?
He is sleeping with the ultimate failure. Hurry up. I want to get out of here.
So they say like every 1 in every like 10 or 20 million people are eligible or have the right type of DNA sequence or code to become a Tyrant. And so that's why there was only 2 failed experiments, I believe, and then, you know, this one they consider to be a success.
Excuse me, Chris.
What, Rebecca?
I saw a research file in this lab. It said that a great deal of research on the Tyrant virus exists right here. We should blow this place up.
We are already into it over our heads. Rebecca, can you do it?
Yes, sir. I'll set off a triggering system for a bomb.
Okay. Now we have a chance to escape. See you outside the house.
I like Rebecca. She's a cool support character. Very simple. She's supposed to be 18 years old. It's like her very first job straight out of college. She's like a genius. That's why oh yeah, and the zombies are replaced with chimeras now. But yeah, so she's supposed to be only 18 years old. A genius in biology, and so she has no experience in the field, but that's what got her the job with STARS. And so now we're gonna go and rescue our friend Jill. This is a good time for me to save. I made my own movie, Resident Evil fan film. I made like 2 or 3 cheesy ones, but the third one was pretty good with my friends and family.
Sorry for making you wait.
My sister played Jill, And she was fantastic at it. She looked just like her too. It was really cool.
I knew I could trust you.
Let's go. There's no need to stay.
Eventually my sister and I want to make like a Power Ranger movie, maybe another remake of Resident Evil, something like that, something kind of fun, like an original maybe black and white zombie movie, kind of a motif or a nod back to George A. Romero and Night of the Living Dead.
Let's get going.
We want to do lightsabers. We want to have we used to have those. We did that twice, but that footage is long gone. It's lost, unfortunately. But we did 2 lightsaber fights, and so we want to do that again. Oh boy! So now we're gonna go upstairs. We're completely done with this part of the map now, and so we're going to the final few minutes of this game. And my weapon keeps... Okay. Time to use the rocket launcher for fun. So if you beat this game within 3 hours, at the very end of the game, you see a black screen, and then you see a missile, a rocket launch past the screen, and that tells you that you've unlocked the rocket launcher because you beat the game within 3 hours. Like I said, I've beat this game many, many times, and my best time was like 3 hours and 11 minutes. So I never beat it under 3 hours. So I never earned it legitimately, but you know, through emulators and codes and whatnot, I have used the rocket launcher many times. Because eventually, the more you play, it gets a little bit stale in many aspects, and so to kind of freshen up the gameplay, you put in the codes and the cheats, and then you kind of get to add new fun fresh elements to it, like using the rocket launcher from the very beginning is always fun. The Colt Python, the Magnum, always fun. And that's what really helps me get back into these games.
This is Brad. I have a fuel shortage. Okay, this is the last try. If somebody's alive, please send a sign.
Okay. So Brad is taking one last trip, making one last round before he goes. So battery, old phone too. So this is 1998. It was made in 1996, but it's set in 1998.
3 minutes until explosion. I made it! I set off the triggering system to the bomb!
Great! Rebecca, Brad's up on a helicopter.
Look at those monsters!
Let me take care of them.
But,
Chris, get in contact with Brad right away.
okay.
And the reason you're looking at the timer's 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to escape, and I put in a code so the timer really never goes down. It stays at 2:59. But if you don't escape within the 3 minute time frame, you lose the game. So and that does happen. So here's a flare. I don't think I even have... Oh, I do have space for the flare. Holy moly, I'm so glad I left space for the flare. Because you'd have to go all the way back, and if you're actually on the timer, you're just killing so much time. And when you're playing this legitimately, you need the time to get past this final part. So we're at the helipad now. This is it. This is the part of the game where that's it. And you got to see it through a window in the mansion on the 3rd floor. You got to see the helipad from far away across the forest. So you knew that this helipad existed. It would take you a long tour, a journey to get over there. So it's kind of cool to finally get around and get over there. It's dawn now, which is why it's lighter outside. The sun is coming out. Just a little detail. I love things like that. Oh boy. Now, this is the Return of the Tyrant. Here, he's considered Super Tyrant, which is a trend that we'll see later on. But here he's supposed to be faster and stronger. Here, he there you go. He dashes. He chases you down and swipes up with that massive claw. There's no real physical change with him, which you'll see in other sequels. There's big physical changes. Here, there's not. However, it is said that he is considered a super tyrant because he's faster and stronger after reviving himself and rebuilding his tissues after the damage you bestowed upon him. So normally what you would do, yeah, he's fast. He's definitely fast. So there's a shot. But what we're gonna do is something a little different. We're gonna go right to the good stuff. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm gonna stick to this, because I want the next part to happen. Ooh, yeah, you have to go towards his weak side. Ooh, got him right in the head on that one. Oh, geez. Yeah, you can easily lose this battle. He'll swipe right through you with his chain of attacks. His combos is literally killer. So I think the time has to go down. Okay, so normally what would happen is the timer, you have to survive the time. So what you would do is you would survive the I thought it was by health as well. I guess that's not a key factor here. So normally what you would do is when it reaches a certain time, you survive until like minute 1 or something. You have 1 minute left. And then Brad on top says, here, take this. And he drops down a rocket launcher right here on the H. And you pick it up, and then that's the final blow. So this one really isn't about lowering his health, because it seems like it's infinite. This is based off of time. So with that said, we could shoot the rocket launcher, and in one missile, he's gone. So that was the Tyrant second battle, Super Tyrant. And thank you so much for playing with me. This is the game, from beginning to end. I like this as little, like this haze and mist and this kind of like early morning fog as the sun barely breaks through. So you realize that you just spent one entire night in this mansion. This nightmare. So this is called the best scenario. So you survive, you save Jill, she survives, and when Chris looks over, he sees Rebecca. Now, in Jill's scenario, the best ending for her is saving Chris and Barry Burton. You never get all 4 of them at the same time. You have to do Chris and you have to do Jill, and then you get them. And then it's understood, you know, really all 4 of them survive the night. Them and the pilot, Brad Vickers. Brad Vickers will come in the 3rd game. We'll see him a little bit. But that's Resident Evil, the ultimate director's cut that you see. So we have Chris Redfield. Now, these people, and they took years. I mean, talk about within the last 5 years, they finally found a lot of these actors. I don't know if they ever found Inez. Charlie, they did. Gregory, they did. Linda, she was already kind of a big voice actor. But for Wesker, they did. And they did interviews, and people much bigger on YouTube have interviewed them and talked to them. But it took years to track down these actors who played the original live action characters. But yeah, once again, those are the live action characters. They did not do the voices. Somebody else, other voice actors did the voices for the characters. But that is Resident Evil 1996, made in 95, released in 96. The very original that started it all. And so once again, the very first PlayStation game I ever played. And yeah, yeah, got to be one of my absolute favorites. I mean, that's what inspired me to buy this just for fun. Many years ago, my Black Vest replica. I think a guy in England had this and got it off of eBay from him. I don't know why he had it, but yep. That's it. I mean, I know so many behind the scene trivia tidbits, you know, did you know kind of things, factoids and background stories. But for the most part, I think we really talked about just the core key essentials and all the fun stuff that really relates well to the game. So I'm just going to let credits play, and I'm going to do more playthroughs just for fun. I'll definitely do Resident Evil 2, maybe Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 4 definitely, either the original and the remake. Samuraguchi Mamoru. Yes, okay. They do still credit him because this is based off of the DualShock edition. So the Tempest soundtrack, I owned that soundtrack. Bad choice on my part, but yes. Here, what's also great about this edition I didn't talk about is they brought in the original music. So they didn't do the special DualShock edition music from that guy Samaru, whatever his name is. I'm sorry, forgive me. They took that out and replaced it with the original music. So huge plus on that, because you got to listen to the good, authentic, original soundtrack. And yeah, overall, great game, great ROM. Again, somebody put this together to put in all the original content. Here's our director, Shinji Mikami. They switched it, Mikami Shinji, but his name is Shinji Mikami. Kiji Inafune, yeah, he was a big producer. Yoshiki Okamoto, and then later on Hideki Kamiya. He was I think a designer. He designed a lot of the rooms in this game. He became the director for the second one, which is just as great, arguably better than this first one. Although this first game will always kind of hold that special place with me, but the second game is really, really good. So that's it for now. Once again, thank you so much for if you've watched this from beginning to end and playing with me. This is Resident Evil, the true director's cut. The ROM is available online. I forgot where I got this from, but I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find it, along with Resident Evil 1.5, which I'm sure I'll try to play. I'm terrible at it, but I'll try to play that one. But that's it. So, and then I love this cool screen at the end. Total time, 3.5 hours. Not that bad. Really not that bad. 3.5 hours, and I think it even says you close the case, tough guy or something like that. Oh wait, I gotta turn my controller on. And what do we have? What a tough guy. You've closed this case completely. Once again, thank you so much for playing with me. This is Adam from Covert Indie Films. No, I don't know. That's my old one. What am I now? My cereal box. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. May you all have a blessed day, and until next time.